Brian, can you hear me?
Yep, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
All right.
Well, I appreciate you doing this with me. I'm a huge fan, have been for a while, so I really appreciate it.
No problem.
Um,
It's fun doing these.
yeah, because I wanted to. I've had that thought in my head. I'm like, man, I wonder if I just asked him like, could I interview you? I wonder if he'd be like, no. And then I was like, well, maybe if I do like a conversation or something like that, because I think that's a little bit different. So, and I know that you're also a horror fanatic, so I feel like this is the perfect time of the year
Yeah.
to do this. But
Of course, the last thing I'm going to do is say no because, I mean, anyone asks me that, it's an honor. So,
yeah, well, again, I'm a huge fan, and I found out about you through bone sickness, and I was like, oh my God, this is incredible. It reminded me a lot of Fulci, and who's one of my faves too, and I was like, oh my God, and then. I had later seen a list on IMDb that S. Craig Zahler had made, and it was like his favorite indie horror movies, and number one is Fetus and number two is Bone Sickness.
yeah,
And
when I saw that, that blew my mind. I was like, oh, Jesus. All right, cool.
yeah, so I was like, okay, I was like, this guy who's worked with Kurt Russell knows who Brian Paulin is. I was like, that's really cool.
The weird thing about that is uh, Stacy, who's like the business manager, she does all the orders and everything. And she goes, this guy keeps ordering fetus from us. This was years ago. And he's like, this is like the sixth time he's ordered it from us. So she asked him, he's like, well, not mad or anything, but what are you doing with all these things? Then we found out who he was, and we're like, oh, okay. And then we saw Bone Tomahawk after that, and we had eventually told him, we said, your money's no good here. He's already supported us and stuff. He's posted some things, and then afterwards he had gotten like 10 copies from us, and we're like, then we saw Bone Tomahawk, we're like, who's he giving those copies to?
Yeah.
We're like, whoa, holy, like, wow. So that was, the idea of maybe Kurt Russell, maybe he gave him a copy of something. Who knows? But
And,
yeah, you got a
and
bunch of them from us.
and that's what's so funny too. And I've talked to Michael Todd Schneider, and he's another I've you are not the only one that I've bothered on Instagram with tons of messages. Now you're the one that I've bothered the most, but he's him and Charles Pinion are another. But I remember I was like, have you ever seen, Zoller talking about and then I helped? He goes, dude, I will never be able to process the fact that he's talking about, and this man's worked with Kurt Russell and
Yeah,
Michael Jai White, and he's like, what the hell's going on? And it's cool too because he's kind of, I mean, he does everything. I mean, he makes movies, he does
yeah,
comics, he writes novels, and it's just,
yeah. I
I
got
mean,
that hardcover graphic novel he did. I got that.
oh, Organisms from an Ancient
Yeah.
Cosmos.
Yep.
Yeah. Did you read Forbidden Surgeries of the Hideous Dr. Devenus?
No, I haven't seen that one.
That was his first graphic novel. That one's
Okay.
pretty cool too. But so I guess to start, is there, I this the whole idea of this video again was essentially favorite films to watch during autumn, Halloween, during this time of the year. Is there any film that you watch essentially like every single year during this time, or even just every year in general?
Yeah, well, two distinctly is of course Halloween.
Oh yeah.
John Carpenter's. That I was doing some eBay orders, listing something on eBay, and I put Halloween on in the background. For me, it's like putting an album on. I just want to hear it, even
Oh
if I'm
yeah.
not paying attention to it. And the other one is Night of the Demons.
Really? Okay.
That's just one of the because it just feels like Halloween, like you know, them going to a Halloween party and all that. It's just again, it's just the feel of it. So I always end up putting that one on.
Interesting. Yeah, I can't tell you the last time I saw Night of the Demons. I Every time somebody mentions it, I think of either the Lamberto Bava film
Mm.
Demons, or I think of Night of the Creeps with Tom Atkins,
Oh yeah,
which I
yeah. I
think
have about the same feel as like Night of the Demon, Night of the Creeps. Yeah.
I couldn't tell you anything about Night of the Creeps, but I'm sure I've probably seen it at some point. But and I'm curious too. So what essentially got you into horror movies? Not necessarily creating the, but like what started that big interest?
Well, it's probably from Halloween, just
Oh,
Halloween time,
oh,
because
okay.
as far as I can think back, being a little kid, I always loved Halloween. I always loved Halloween time. I don't even have a memory of not knowing of Halloween. So I can remember when I was a kid and on the streets. It was creepier back in the 70s. I'm with my aunt and stuff, and it felt dangerous actually because I grew up in Pawtucket, Rhode Island, and we ended up moving out because my mother was like, actually, like, I want to get you guys into a better place or whatever. And but I remember being a little creeped out sometimes because it seemed like sketchy people off on the other street and everything. But oh, another great memory I have of that is I think I might have finally figured it out. I remember we went into it was a bunch of us and we went into someone's house. I remember we had to go up the stairs and then it was like an apartment complex. And I remember going into the person's place and they had a horror movie on the TV. And I was kind of like, "Ooh, what's that?" A little kid, and getting creeped out again. And I just remember walls bleeding.
Oh,
And it must have been like the first time they put Amityville Horror on TV or something.
yeah,
But obviously, there's no video cassettes or anything back then. And I just remember being like, whoa. And that always stuck with me.
that's
But
awesome.
it's funny is as a kid, I was scared to death of watching horror movies.
Really
Yeah, I was.
interesting.
It took my older cousins, two of my older cousins, to really get me into it. But I was fascinated by it. I remember when Creepshow came out. I remember seeing the commercial for Creepshow. I was like, that looks awesome. Anything that was rated R, I was afraid to look at. And of course, anyways, my parents weren't going to let me see them anyways. But my older cousins would talk about it, and I got fascinated through my older cousins, I would say.
Interesting. Yeah, it's funny you say that too about Halloween in the 70s. That's one of the things I'm really sad like about Halloween in the 70s and 80s that I could not experience because like my parents tell me they're like it was so much more fun and my girlfriend tells me they're like it was awesome. And I mean when I was a kid and when you talked about it felt dangerous, I immediately thought about have you seen Trick or Treat
Which one is that?
from 2007?
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely.
I
That's
just
another one that always goes on. Yeah,
I just rewatched it and it feels like almost like an EC comic come to life.
yeah,
Like it's just, and I assume that's probably what they were going with because I know like the opening credits with the comics and stuff. But like when I watch, because like when I was a kid and with Halloween, it felt like you said, it felt dangerous and it felt like, okay, as long as you like abide by the rules of Halloween, you're safe.
yeah.
And I will never forget. I think I was, oh my God, I was probably like 5 or 6. And to get off of my street, there was like this little hill, and there was this guy who lived on one of the houses up on that little hill, and he was dressed as a scarecrow, and he had this rake, and I think he had like some little things on like the ends of the rakes because he was like dragging it on the street, and it
Oh
was
yeah.
creating this huge sparks. And I remember just like screaming at the top of my lungs, like that is the scariest thing I've ever seen in my life. And then I had this friend, Zach, who he's gone on to direct music videos and stuff like that. His dad, he did photography and stuff like that. And I remember every year he'd always do something just like insane. And he had this thing where he had this projector set up in the front yard, and he had it was like this loop of his eye
Hmm.
like really close on the screen. And I remember he lived like right down, so I could see it. And they always had like these terrifying little, things in the yard. I think too, because like my parents were kind of they were into like exploitation movies and horror films. I think for them it was kind of like, well, I'm not going to stop going to the movies, so you got to like them too. So I think that's where my love came from. But as I got older and kind of explored certain things, I was finding stuff that because they weren't like movie buffs essentially, but they enjoyed like Halloween and
Yep.
Carrie and stuff like that. Even when David Lynch unfortunately passed away earlier this year, I showed my mom Eraserhead because I used to style my hair like his, and I started drinking coffee because I'm obsessed with Lynch, and I showed it to her, and and I showed it to my grandmother as well. And after the movie ended, they were like, I, what do you want me to say? Like I don't like that was the weirdest movie I've ever seen in my life. Um, but I think that that's kind of what's so special about horror is like I guess some would not consider Eraserhead to be a horror movie, but that's a terrifying film. I mean,
Definitely feels like horror.
yeah, it feels like a nightmare. And I think that's kind of what's upsetting about a lot of new horror films. I don't know what that is one thing I wanted to ask you. Are there any contemporary horror films that have come out maybe in like the last, I don't know, 10, 15 years that you've really been a fan of?
The Witch is probably the one I
The,
end up liking the most.
yeah,
I
because
like the tone of that movie.
I feel like a lot of contemporary horror films, when you watch interviews, they're like, it's not a horror, it's more of like a drama that deals with like trauma and stuff. And it's like,
Yeah,
but trauma is intrinsic to the horror genre. Like, what do you think you're making?
yeah,
And I feel like a sense of terror is really missing from a lot of contemporary horror films.
yeah.
And so that is actually why, and I know you're a big fan of this. I think anyone who's made films post, I'm trying to think when this movie came out. I think 81, obviously The Evil Dead.
Oh yeah,
I mean, it's I just rewatched it for the first time in about 3 years, and it's essentially perfect. And it's another perfect fall movie. The fog,
yep.
the just the overall, like, it's such a dense atmosphere.
Just a
Um
location, just being in the woods alone.
yeah, and now that's your favorite film of all time, isn't it?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what made me want to stop making movies. Because
And
at
that
first I was just just doing makeup effects, but then once I saw Evil Dead, I was like, it felt more attainable. Especially
yeah,
once I read about it in Fangoria, I was like, oh, really? They only had this and this, and so it just felt like we could actually, if we could get hold of a camera, a video camera, we could try to pull it off.
yeah. And,
That's
and
what
he
got us started.
and he was like 21, I think, when they made that movie. And
Yeah,
it's
that's like Jesus Christ, make a perfect movie at 21. What the hell?
yeah, it's so unfair. And then I think of like Orson Welles made Citizen Kane at like 26, and I'm like, he's younger than I am now. I'm now 27. I'm like,
Yeah,
good God, he was younger than I am now. Like,
that's
how?
crazy. I know. I don't understand how some of them do it.
And then I remember I messaged you that one point because I saw it said it was somebody bitching about Army of Darkness, and it said Brian P, Massachusetts, and I'm like, I wonder if that's him. And I remember you said it was, and I was
Yeah,
curious, did you ever come around to that film?
I like it as its own thing.
Yeah.
As Evil Dead 3, I think it's terrible.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
Well, I saw it in the theater too, and I was so excited because I couldn't get in to see Evil Dead 2.
Oh,
And
okay.
like I was gonna be 17 in like 6 months. And I was with my cousin and he was of age and they wouldn't let me in because it was unrated. I was like, oh. But then I finally get, Army of Darkness. So I'm like, it's Evil Dead 3. And I'm just like, I didn't come to see a Three Stooges movie.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, because there
I
are
mean,
oh, go ahead. I mean,
oh, just on its own, it's fun. But
yeah.
just knowing it's Evil Dead 3, it's like,
Yeah. Well, because that's the thing too, is like you go from I mean, I don't think I mean, I think there are horror films as influential as The Evil Dead, but I don't think there are any that are more influential. Because it's like, I mean, I would say like Night of the Living Dead's up there,
yeah.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Psycho, but it's like, I mean, that film lives in the lifeblood of essentially every underground SOV
Yeah.
indie horror film. I mean, it's in everything, and it's. Do you like Evil Dead 2?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I actually just watched it again like a month ago. And it's funny, this viewing didn't go over as well as my other ones, just because I'm looking at it like, why did he cut the gore? Granted, they were going for an R rating, but once they knew, forget the R rating, it's not going to work, but they still had a theatrical release. I'm like, why didn't he put some of that great stuff back in it and everything? It's like, it seemed like it just could have been, originally it was going to be more, but then some reason now they went with the MPAA and just did what they were told.
Well, that's what's weird you say that because the last time I saw the Evil Dead 2, I saw it with Tony Elwood, who did the props for that film. He was at
Uh,
the screening. And so it was I had just seen the Evil Dead for the first time in the theater. I mean, I'd seen it before, but never in theater. And I saw Evil Dead 2 in the theater for the first time. And that was the first thing I noticed. I was like, this really is not a gory film at all. It kind of took me by surprise. And I think that that's why the first one works so well. Not, and it's not just because of the gore. because it's not gory until like almost 45 minutes into the film.
Yeah.
It's like it also just doesn't have that same atmosphere as the first. I think that low budget really helped.
And also the way they did the scenes in Evil Dead. I mean, when you look at it once, it's like nonstop. Once was it Linda or whatever, she gets possessed and she's up there, and then the whole pot, well, actually no, once they throw, was it Cheryl or whatever, throws her into the fire, and then Scott pulls her back out. From then on, it's like almost like 5 minutes of nonstop horror and gore.
Yeah.
And then just her screaming after she's all burnt up, and she bites her thing off, bites her wrist off, gets stabbed, and then that agonizing scream, and she just goes really slow backwards and everything. And then the whole bodily dismay, it's like, Jesus Christ, it's like nonstop. There's
Yeah.
nothing like that in the other movies. That whole sequence alone is just like, and it's brutal and it's dead serious.
Yeah.
And,
That's it.
and proud maybe because it was shot on 16 millimeter or whatever, it just grainier and just it felt, I don't know, it felt more brutal. It felt, I don't know, I'm not gonna say this because it sounds kind of stupid, but you can compare it as saying that felt dangerous as opposed to Evil Dead 2, which felt like a studio film. So Evil Dead 2 didn't feel dangerous because it felt like a glossy studio film.
And I know exactly what you mean because I think that that's kind of my problem with a lot of contemporary horror films is they don't have a sense of danger and they don't have a sense of terror.
Yeah.
And it's like, how is terror missing from horror? Like that'd be like watching an action movie and it's like, where's the action? It's like,
Yeah.
well, it should be there, but it feels like I think a lot of contemporary horror films, they're wanting to be three things. They want to be The Shining, they want to be Polanski's apartment trilogy, and they want to be Bergman's either Hour of the Wolf or Persona. And it's all so pastiche that it just kind of like it's like fake art house almost.
Yeah.
And it's like, guys, just I think that's why like I think the 90s, for instance, is like the worst time in horror history. Aside from like underground, like a few mainstream, a few indie stuff, but like the underground scene and then East Asia, because like Hong Kong in the 90s was insane and
Yeah.
Japan was insane. But like not like and it started, I think, in the late 80s into the 90s, and I feel like it just never recovered. It's awful.
You knew it was really bad when Fangoria is putting the Addams Family and Jurassic Park on the cover of their magazines.
There
That's
you
how you
go.
can tell horror was just shit at that moment.
Yeah.
It was just the MP, well, that Jack Valenti guy or whatever who headed the MPAA. He just gutted the whole industry. He obviously hated the horror industry and
Yeah.
wouldn't let anyone do anything.
He was like the Tipper Gore of movies, essentially.
Exactly. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. It's really weird how because again, it's like it's not even just the gore, it's just like they were cutting in ways to where they were like masking the impact. Like
Yeah.
for as much as I love Hellraiser, I think Hellraiser is incredible. I actually really enjoy Hellraiser too.
Oh yeah, they're
Um,
both great.
yeah, past that,
Yeah.
okay. I'm from North Carolina, so I know a lot of people love Hellraiser 3 because it was shot here.
Oh yeah.
It's
Yep.
like, who cares? Like Dawson's Creek was shot here. Are you a Dawson's Creek fan? Um, and then, but even the first one has moments that you can tell they were cutting, like when I think her name's Julia, maybe when she hits with the hammer, they're cutting in particular ways to where
Really.
it almost lessens the impact in a way. But it's still a terrifying film. It's still great. But I just watched. My friend and I are huge Joe Bob Briggs fans, and we watched the. He did a double feature of. Oh God, I can't remember the name of the first one. It was incredible. It was a Brazilian horror film, and the second one was The Church. It's the
Okay.
Italian horror film,
Yep.
and Italian horror of the 70s and 80s. I mean, unmatched. Fulci, Argento,
Yep.
Sergio Martino, the masters. That film was it's like an hour and a half, maybe hour 45, and I was like, it's gone on long enough. And we were maybe 20 minutes into the film, and I was like, oh my God, it's too much. But I am curious. This is kind of going back a ways. Well, actually, this is going back a lot further than the 70s. I don't know if you'd be able to tell it. It's is a steelbook for the 1931 Dracula film.
Oh wow.
And I feel like we have to talk about it because it's actually Bela Lugosi's birthday today.
Oh, is it? Oh, I didn't even realize.
So are you a fan of Universal horror at all?
I am now. It's
Okay.
int like it's weird to talk about because, it's like the core of everything. It's like where it all began. But I was never into them until about 10, 8, 10 years ago. I finally like sat down and really gave them a chance because one thing that always like I never understood because when I was as a kid, um, I grew up in Massachusetts, and when I was a kid, there was a TV show called Creature Double Feature from Boston.
Yeah.
Best show that ever existed. But the reason I watched it is because I became obsessed with Godzilla and Gamera and Damasian and all that stuff. So I was into all the kaiju stuff before we even knew what all that kaiju stuff was. But I was just obsessed with giant monster stuff in the Japanese movies. But then they would also play Dracula or they'd play the Hammer films. And when one of those would, because maybe sometimes in TV Guide you could look and be like, oh, they're playing this or whatever. But half the time I just turn it on and you didn't know what was coming on. And then I was like, oh yeah, Godzilla, all right, awesome. But then all of a sudden it's like Dracula, and I'm like, oh. And I was like, why do they call them monsters? They're just people. I don't, because as a little kid, I didn't understand like where it was coming from because I
Yeah.
was into the giant Japanese monsters. Like, those are monsters, they're huge. So it kind of confused me, and I just didn't give it a chance as a kid. But also the Hammer films, I did watch some of the probably like half of the Hammer films. Maybe I'd watch a bit of one because I'm waiting for the next movie to come on. And but then as a little kid, like I said, I wasn't into horror as a little kid. I was actually kind of afraid of it, even though I was fascinated. So I'd see some, Christopher Lee movies, and also I'm like, ugh, like why is that on TV?
Yeah.
Because they were more graphic and everything, and they probably played them pretty much uncut, some of them, except for like not graphic R-rated stuff. But so I that was my first introduction into like blood and gore.
Oh,
So as
okay.
a little kid, I'm just like, oh. So that's why I was never into that stuff at all. And then of course once because I got into horror later, it was from my cousins. I didn't really fully get into it probably until I was about 13, I think.
Wow. Okay.
So
Yeah.
I wasn't seeing horror films like even on TV like at like 8 or 9 years old. It wasn't until I was just turned a teenager. And when I saw it, the first one I ever saw was The Howling, and I loved it. And then right after that was like Creep Show, and then soon after that I rented Demons, which I
Oh,
didn't know what I was getting into with that one.
okay.
So it went right from like the Japanese giant monster stuff to gore.
Yeah.
So I didn't have that in between. So I was just like I went straight over this way, and Universal monsters and Hammer stuff. I never had a chance in my brain
Yeah.
until I got older, which I actually liked because I was able to appreciate it a lot more. Because once I finally sat down, it was the Wolfman actually. I sat down and I'm like, I'm gonna watch this finally. And I was just blown away by the sets. I'm like, this
Oh,
is
beautiful.
amazing looking. I just could not believe the sets in that movie. And that's where also my appreciation finally kicked in.
I would be shocked. I would kind of hate to know like what contemporary audiences would think of like somebody like Douglas Sirk or like Vincent Minnelli, where it's like these really heightened expression, very
Yeah.
melodramatic films that are beautiful, but they're not real. But it's like I think if when I think melodrama is actually kind of a little more radical than people give it credit for because it's like it's almost kind of like pure unfiltered emotion. But then like with heightened sets and stuff like that, I think it's almost kind of like rather than like a reflection of reality, it's almost like a refraction of it. It's like exaggerating the physical part of reality to show like the actual core reality, if that makes sense. And I think that that's kind of like a lost art in a way.
I think it helps it helps suck the viewer into the movie
Yeah,
better
for sure.
because you're bringing them into this. Well, I mean, all right, not so much a fantasy world, but stuff you only see in the movies.
Yeah.
That's the whole point. It's supposed to be escapism. It's supposed to, yeah, okay, we're watching someone in an apartment the whole time, but unless the story is interesting, it's going to get boring very quickly because, all right, yeah, that looks like where I'm sitting right now. So what?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, like I said, I wasn't even a fan of the Universal movies at all. But then when I saw those sets in the Wolfman, I was just like, I was blown. I fell in love with the movie. I'm like, this is incredible. This looks so damn good.
Oh yeah.
And that's what we started trying to do a while ago is like, no, we don't want to just be another underground movie that's just, all right, we'll put one light and just whatever available light there is, and that's all it is. Like, no, we want to have fog. We want to create atmosphere. We want to create an entire world that this movie exists in.
And that is something I know. I when I sent you that poster, I put that in the note about my girlfriend and I are, we I was the one who introduced her to your work, and that's one of the we'll watch the film and then we'll watch the behind the scenes, and it's there are so many times we were watching the behind the scenes for Bone Sickness and the graveyard. We were like, holy shit, he did that in the garage. We were like, what? And because I was wondering when we were watching, I'm like, how did they like how are they coming out of the ground? Like there's no way, and so that was one of those things. And so I do want to show these off to people watching. Well, since I just brought up Bone Sickness, obviously this is the Saturn's core release and absolutely gorgeous. And it is funny to think like, with this point in like the boutique labels of Blu-rays and DVDs and the people who don't care about movies, they go, who has DVDs and Blu-rays anymore? It's like, oh, I do.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I have way too many of them. I literally I have a storage unit that I have to kind of put some of them in there because I have too much.
Yeah.
But I mean, we're at this point where we have Brian Paulin movies on Blu-ray, and it is. I mean, I'm sure that's for you very strange.
It blows my mind that anyone gives a shit enough to spend money on that. But it's like, oh, we always, and people have said it too, because how come you guys keep getting left behind or like left in the background? I'm like, I don't know. It's probably my own fault because I don't scream about what we're doing loud enough. I don't get people's attention. But it's not until now that, what Saturn's Car's been doing, and then these other distributors are saying, hey, can we do this release? And I'm like, oh, people actually like this stuff. Like it was kind of hard to judge because there wasn't much attention at all when these things first came out. Now I'm like, oh wow, okay. Saturn's Core had to talk me into putting Reap of Evil on the At Dawn They Sleep Blu-ray because
Oh.
they asked, and I actually did not I actually refused at first. I'm like, oh no. I'm like I'm like it's shot on VHS. It's granted I did remix it a little bit, but I mean it looks I'm like, no, no one's gonna want to see that. I don't want people to see that. But like, the guy's like, I'm a huge fan of it. I'm like, you really? And he's like, yeah, we want to put it. I'm like, oh, all right. If people are asking, he's like, no, people. I know people that want to see this. I'm like, I reluctantly said, okay, fine. And then the VHS sells out, and I'm like, what the hell? I didn't know people like this.
Well, I gotta admit too, when Bone Sickness sold out, I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. I mean, like not in a bad way, but I was like, I never thought I'd see that day where it's like Bone Sickness sold out. I was like, whoa, okay, cool. Like
It
that's
blew my mind. I'm just
yeah.
like, Jesus, all right, cool.
And I know they recently did the Michael Todd Schneider film, My Crepitus, I Never Left the Light Room.
Yeah,
And I messaged him about it. He's like, dude, I still have no idea. Or like, Charles Pinion, they did was it Red Spirit Lake, I think, and he's like, yeah, I have I mean I'm glad, but it's like it is funny to like I mean going back to the Evil Dead, I guess it was kind of that mindset of
yeah.
like we just thought we
Well,
could do it too.
when I became obsessed with the Evil Dead, you couldn't find anything anywhere on Evil Dead.
Oh,
I
really?
was I was ordering back issues of Fangoria, like a couple of issues where they did an article on it because I just wanted to read about it because no one was talking about Evil Dead. This is like I don't know when I maybe around in 1988 or whatever. I was in high school and yeah, I love the movie. I was obsessed with it. It basically made me and my friend Rich want to do all this stuff that we do. But there was no attention for it. And it wasn't like that until like the mid 2000s, where all of a sudden it's like everyone finally caught on, or the people like us who loved it, they ended up in like power positions in the movie industry somewhere. Like, look at this movie, damn it. No one's talking about it. And then all of a sudden it's now this huge cult movie. I mean, it was always a cult movie, but now it's going to that bigger status where it just went on tour and played theaters.
Yeah.
But there
Yeah.
was nothing like that back when I was younger, just starting out.
And that's what's so weird. Like, I mean, I just day before yesterday, I went to go see Phantasm.
Oh
And
well,
are you a fan of that movie at all?
I love that movie. Yeah.
I so that was my first time. So speaking of fall movies, I had seen that movie maybe about 10 years ago. And I remember being really tired and I was like, yeah, it's okay. And I saw the ending and I was like, that was awesome, but whatever. And I went like straight to sleep. And for years I was like, because there are certain horror films that are adored that I'm like, really? Like, come on.
Yeah.
And then there are others that aren't really paid attention to. I'm like, guys, no, like this movie rocks.
Yeah.
I feel that way about Toby Hooper's Toolbox Murders from
Okay.
like 2004. I think the movie's awesome. But I was like, for some reason, just Phantasm didn't do anything for me. My friend asked me and my girlfriend, he's like, you guys want to go? And we're like, yeah, sure. Within seconds, just like right away, I was like, oh my God, what was I thinking? I mean, that score, the atmosphere, and the entire time I was like, I'm an idiot. Like this movie is incredible. And then of course after the movie ended, I turned to my girlfriend. I'm like, what'd you think? She goes, yeah, I liked it. I'm like, oh my God. I was like, so you had the same opinion that I did when I first saw it.
Yeah, it's like when you first see that one, it's kind of a little, it's like a little too odd, and it's like people don't know how to like comprehend it or whatever. And I
Yeah.
was kind of like, I always was a fan of it, but it wasn't like a huge movie for me. But I think it was in April of 2024. I was at a convention and I was walking around. I saw a guy had a bunch of Laserdiscs. So I'm flipping through them and he had one with the original cover. I have like the Elite Special Edition Laserdisc that opens up in the gatefold. And again, that's awesome packaging, but I think I watched it maybe once and I watched the special features and that's it. I never watched it again. There was something about this old Laserdisc with the original artwork on it. As soon as I got home, I think that night or the night after or whatever, I'm like, I think that I was like, I got to put my Laserdisc back in place and get in a better spot because I wasn't using it. Put that in, like you said, instantly. As soon as that droning sound starts,
Yeah.
oh yeah, I'm loving this. And then I'm just watching the whole movie, and it was something about playing that format, that Laserdisc, made me fall absolutely in love with the movie again. And I'm just like, I love this movie. I watched it over and over and over again.
Well, and that's the thing too. Like, I love strange movies. I often like, I'll recommend movies to friends, and they'll watch, and they're like, I'm never watching a movie you recommend again. Like, what's wrong with you? And so it wasn't that it was too weird. I literally I was just too tired, and for some reason didn't give it a chance. But that was what my girlfriend sh said. She was like, it's just a little like it's odd, and I'm like, but we watched Fulci together. We watched
Mm,
Takashi Miike and Shinya Tsukamoto and all that. And but it was funny though. The grandmother when she gets rolled in the wheelchair, I immediately was like, is that Ozzy Osbourne? Because she's got like the T-shaped glasses.
yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
what the hell? And then I looked on Letterboxd and one of my friends had reviewed it. And he was like, I could have sworn that was Ozzy Osbourne at first. I'm like, okay, I'm not alone. I'm not alone. And then
That's all I'm gonna see now.
yeah. And then the other thing too was the when the two gravestones come out of the ground and that music kicks in, my girlfriend goes, Fulci. And I was like, that really did feel like a Fulci scene.
Yeah.
And it just that atmosphere is so dense. And I love it too because it is such an absurd film, but I completely buy it. Like it
Mm,
because I think part of it is one, also a really sad movie. Like it's
yeah.
completely about loss and like growing up and coping with it and coping with death. And then but it just what I love about it is like when watching horror movies, when something horrific or strange happens and someone has to convince the other person and they spend like 20 minutes of the film trying to convince them. And sorry. Um with that film, it's like immediately like when he shows him the finger, he's like, "Okay, I believe you."
Yeah.
And then I think it's the friend Reggie, the ice cream guy. Like they immediately buy into it, and I think that that's what's so great. And it kind of like you kind of start to make sense of it. And you're like, okay, and then something strange will happen again. You go, okay, no, and then it's like it's almost like a dream that's like slowly
Yeah.
revealing itself to be a nightmare.
And they don't explain anything in that movie.
Yeah, and that's the other great part about it too.
That's what I love about the spheres. That's why the spheres are so damn cool in that movie because they just appear for no reason.
Yeah.
And it's like, what the hell was that?
Yeah.
And it's awesome.
Yeah, and like and I hate in movies like it's very rare when it can work when there's like that burst of sound when something happens. That's one of those rare movies where it completely works
Mm.
because it's like that soundtrack is essentially part of the sound design
Oh
itself.
yeah.
It's great. But of course we have At Dawn They Sleep, and in the special features there is Reap of Evil. And that was I'm so glad he did not listen to you and put it in and was like, no, it has to be because I also have the VHS of Reap of Evil. It is incredible. And I actually think kind of like with film, the degradation of the tape almost like it adds texture to it. And it's such a nightmare. Like it in the best way. I don't mean like, oh God, the movie's a nightmare. Like, no,
Oh no,
it's a
I can
nightmare.
imagine. I haven't checked them out, like compared them, but I'm sure the VHS probably looks way better than the Blu-ray because it probably adds to the look of it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even on the Blu-ray, like because I know like that transfer, there's only so much you can do, and it just looks so strong. And that was your first feature, wasn't it? That was
That was
90.
the first full length one we did, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So and that was 94, right?
It finished in 94, so I think we actually started making it the end of 92. We
90.
started
Okay.
working on it. Was that was actually one of the first ones where we started working on it and something just didn't work. And I'm like, let me go back and rewrite this and everything. And then we switched some characters around and then it became what it was.
Okay. That's really so when you were making films, was it aside from it being inspired by The Evil Dead, was any of it kind of a part like I hate where horror's at, like let me make a film where this is how it should be?
Yeah, we're basically like we want to make movies that made us love horror movies. We want to go back and try to get that type of feel for it. Uh,
Yeah,
Like at Dawn of Sleep, we started making that what 96 or whatever. I couldn't even tell you what horror movies came out in 96.
not good ones.
Um, the reason why there's shootouts and stuff in At Dawn They Sleep is because I was watching John Woo movies. I had found John Woo movies like 2 years before that. I was just like, oh my God, this is awesome. Screw all these studio horror films. These things suck. And I'm watching just sheer utter violence in John Woo's films. I'm like, this is insane. You don't see like anything like this in American movies.
Yeah,
So that's what inspires me. Like, we gotta get blanks. We gotta try to do this.
and I'm glad you ended up getting that poster. I like as soon as I got, it, I was like, I gotta send this to Brian because I know he's a huge fan, and every time those shootouts come up, I'm like, this is so sick. And I just rewatched. I saw Hard Boiled in the theater, and my God, I've seen that film 1,000 times, but seeing the restoration and seeing it in theaters,
Oh
it's
wow.
insane. And I think the way John Woo edited and well also and shot action scenes, they were kind of I mean, they were beautiful and operatic, but they were horrific. Like
Mm.
people were getting ripped apart and you see the squibs and stuff, and
Oh,
like
yeah.
that's very rare in action movies. I mean, like Sam Peckinpah was like that, and like Paul Verhoeven is another like Total Recall. Amazing movie.
Yeah.
And when people get shot, I mean, they're getting ripped apart. And so I feel like John Woo, I think, was again one of the few, because especially like American horror movies, I think also suffered the way horror films did. Because I mean, 90s action is pretty sick, but some of it was weak because they
Yeah.
were cutting at those particular times where it's like, like no, like
Yeah.
even Hard Target, the John Woo film. I love that movie, but the American studios, they came in way too much and cut too much.
I got the Japanese Laserdisc. You ever see the uncut version?
No, I want to though.
It's insane. I'm like, what the hell was Universal thinking? You hired John Woo for a reason. Granted,
Yeah,
the MPA probably was what the whole movie is the same thing until the end in that like big Mardi Gras warehouse. The shootout is absolutely insane. I mean, he's just emptying full clips into people, and then just, I'm like, my jaw was on the floor. I'm like, this is what the movie is supposed to be. Holy shit!
like some people were obviously like very excited for the takeover because it's like we're going to be nationally Chinese again, and then
Yeah,
others were like, oh God, what's going to happen?
there goes
And
the film industry.
yeah, exactly. And then also too, like you see some of those again, those action films feel more like horror films. Like there's one with Yin Bao called On the Run, and that is brutal. I mean, absolutely brutal. And I'm like, this is scarier than certain horror movies. So,
Their action was absolutely brutal, the stuff they did, and their stuntmen were insane.
oh yeah, yeah. And Jackie Chan, he had to insure the his stuntmen themselves or himself because insurance companies were like, absolutely not.
Yep.
Absolutely, like you're not gonna fall 2 stories. No, not happening. So he's like, all right, I'll pay for it myself. But
It just all right. If you have a balcony on the second floor, just flop off of that and land on your back.
yeah,
And they just do it like nothing.
yeah. And then and it's funny because I love when they show like the bloopers and like the outtakes and behind the scenes at the end. And everyone's like getting wheeled off and they're like having to fan them and like
Yeah.
support his head. It's just
It was
like
like right after they yell cut, you see all these people go, "Oh no, is
yeah.
he all right?"
They're
Every
like
single shot.
yeah, they're pulling out the fire extinguishers.
Yeah.
They're like pulling out the water. Like he might be dead. It's insane. Um
One thing I'll bring up really quick is with like John Woo and even the Jackie Chan martial arts stuff, and I was watching all the sword play movies and everything, but I like really sat down and I studied. I'm like, what is it about John Woo's action that just blows everything else away? So I'm like, well, so I'm watching all the different stuff and trying to get an idea of what. And I'm like, okay, all that debris, the debris coming in, there's debris coming from every direction. You see all the squibs do. I'm like, all right, that makes a lot. And cameras always bodies are constantly flying. And then we did Soon to Be Dead, which was our only non-horror movie because we wanted to do horror was so dead that we were just uninspired. But we were watching John Woo and Quentin Tarantino stuff, so like let's the Tarantino stuff helped me write a script, write dialogue better. And then the John Woo stuff, we had fun to do the action. But it actually eventually helped out the horror movies because I realized how to cut better, how
mm,
to cut on action. Like if you notice on if you saw the original version of Reap of Evil before they even asked for it, I ended up remixing it because I was like, you know what, maybe I'll stop bringing some DVDRs to conventions because a lot of people kept asking about it. So and I've seen it done in other underground movies. People have a tendency to just let the gore keep going. And
yeah.
there's that shot. The blood's still going. Blood's still going. The guy's just, all right, we're not cutting it. Why aren't we cutting? I made the same mistakes. There were parts in Reap of Evil. I'm like, oh, Jesus, it goes on way too long. That's stupid. It's boring. And that's what happens is it makes the movie boring. And I
Yeah.
tried to explain that to someone once where it was a friend of mine, mostly from online, and he had sent me a movie. I'm like, it was cool, but you should really cut some of those shots because it'd make it more brutal. And he didn't understand. He was like, no, no, I want to keep seeing it. I go, but it has no impact. And
Yeah.
that's what I end up learning. I'm like, you have to cut quick on the gore. So it's more like a punch in the face
Yeah.
rather than just going, okay. Oh, now I can tell it's a prop.
Yeah.
Okay, now it looks like a Halloween effect. It's like you can't let them look too long.
Yeah.
And that's what the John Woo stuff taught me how to edit for that stuff.
Yeah, he's incredible. I met Tom Savini once, and that was one of the first things I asked him was I was like, how do you think like what makes effects work the best? Like what gives them the best impact as a director and as an editor? And he said, don't linger too much.
Hmm.
And he goes because it almost becomes like pornographic where it's like, oh, look at this,
Yeah,
and it
exactly.
loses all the effects. And he said, and the example he gave, which kind of surprised me, but it makes sense, was Seven. And I mean, he's working with Rob Bottin on that, or David Fincher wasn't. I mean,
Hmm.
Rob Bottin is the man. I mean,
So unbelievable.
I mean, The Thing to this day, I think has some of the greatest effects ever.
Yeah, no one's matched it.
Yeah,
It just
and talk about young.
yeah, there's another one. It's like, how the hell are you do the Howling? What
Yeah,
was he, 19 supposedly or something like that?
insane. And he had already worked on Star Wars by that point too.
Jesus.
Like that's the it boggles my mind. But like I think about like I mean even with The Thing for as groundbreaking and incredible as those effects are, he doesn't linger.
Hmm.
Or Carpenter and Dean Cundy and I don't remember the editor's name, but they didn't linger, and I think that that's what kind of made you just kind of see hints and then you see it and I think that that's what makes it so astounding. In fact, another, and this is actually my favorite of your films is Cryptic Plasm. Um, the effect where he gets pulled up into the tree. I mean, that is just, and this is also another perfect fall movie. Um, that scene just boggles my mind, and also spoilers, but not to you. I know you know what happens in the movie, but to anyone watching, when you're stuck in the wall,
Okay.
and that quote, "We cannot occupy the same space." I mean, that's incredible, and that's another where you'll show those close-ups and you'll show those, but the way you cut, again, you don't linger to where, like when he gets dragged up, the first time I saw that, I think I've seen Cryptic Plasm 4 or 5 times, and every time I'm like, holy shit. I'm like, that was insane. And the first time I saw it, I was like, how did he do that? And when I saw it behind the scenes, and I'd only I know I just ordered this from you recently, so I'd only just now seen the behind the scenes, and that absolutely blew me away to watch you guys do that. And I think that's kind of uh I've heard some people say when they watch behind the scenes, it kind of takes them out of the movie. But for me, it puts me more into it because I think you really, when you see that creativity,
Yeah.
and when I've asked you how the shoots are going and everything like that, and those pictures you send me, or like the posts that you make and on your story, I just go like, Jesus, like that is there was the one where like the little explosives, I think it was in the neck or
Oh yeah.
something, and you guys having to wear ear protection and stuff, and I mean that boggles my mind that it's a setup of like an hour to an hour and a half, and it's like 3 seconds of footage or something like that.
Yep.
And
We had
yeah,
a shoot like that last night, actually.
what's that?
We Rich and I we filmed last night, Rich George, and there's something special about when I knew I just want to get some effects, some more insert shots done, and this time of year sometimes it's hard, especially during October because everyone's doing conventions, so it's hard to get a crew together. But when it's just Rich George and I, everything just works perfectly for some reason. And I think the night we did the cryptic plasm when the body went up in the tree, like that was all Rich. He's like,
Oh,
what do you I he's like, what I tell him what I want to try to accomplish. I'm like, I don't know how we're gonna do this. He's like, all right, that more physical stuff, he just figures out a way to do it. So he just got up on a ladder, got up in the tree, and we had this like 50-foot long extension cord, and which we ended up completely ruining. I was like, "Oops!" Well, at least we got because we didn't realize how much it was going to stretch the cord and stuff.
oh yeah.
But he was just like, "I'm going to get it all the way up there, and then I'm going to," and he's like 20 feet away in the yard. I mean, he had to do that to be able to get it up that high. He's like, "Where do you want it to go to?" I'm like, "There." He goes, "All right, I'll figure it out how to do it." So it's like I love it when we're able to create like that. And we did that last night. I won't really give anything away, but we um we did another forced perspective shot last night. And we did one in the movie and it blew my mind that it worked. And I was just so happy with it. And then I had an idea for something. It happens towards the ending and it's a new part of the story that all fits together. I'm like, we have to get this shot, and of course, we got to do it before winter gets here because we're in Massachusetts and it's going to get
Oh
really
yeah.
cold here. And it's like, all right, this is what I think. This is how it will work. I think this will work, whatever. And then Richard's like, all right, I'll get this and do this. So I'm setting up like the camera stuff, and he's setting up certain things and everything. And then we get back, and it worked perfectly.
That's
We watch it. We're watching the footage. I'm like, oh my god! I'm like, and he's like, oh, that's great. Oh no! And we're like, that's so cool. All right, cool. It worked.
that's awesome. Yeah, Rich George, he seems like the madman. He like getting set on fire and everything
Yeah,
like that. And
we always used to joke he was our Bruce Campbell.
yeah.
He was like, yeah, I'll throw my body down the stairs. Well, he was on a stunt team too years
Yeah.
ago. In the '90s, he was on a stunt team for a while.
Because he was
They didn't do
professionally trained,
movies,
right?
but sorry, what was that?
Oh, sorry, I was just gonna say he was professionally trained, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. It was actually a stunt school in Connecticut, and they mostly did stunt shows at there was a racetrack in Connecticut. I can't remember what it's called, but they used to do stunt shows there. They did some commercials, but they were trying to get it into the movie stuff, and then the president of the company just kind of it all folded, and everyone kind of went their own ways. And Rich is like, well, hey, at least I can still do stunts for our movies. I'm like, hell yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing too. When we watch the behind the scenes, we're like, man, he goes through it. Like it's that's dedication. Um, yeah, and that's kind of, I mean, that's we talked about S. Craig Zoller earlier, and that's really what makes me love filmmakers like Sam Raimi and S. Craig Zoller and you, and where it really is giving it your all, and I know it may sound so cheesy, but it's like, I mean, that's what makes it work, is giving it your all. And because you were talking about with certain uh underground filmmakers where it's just, all right, we'll put a light here, we'll just kind of do it. And it's like the blood effects are like, it almost looks like they're just taking like a cup full of fake blood and just throwing it, and
Yeah.
it's like there is true dedication here, and to the point where I go, my God, I cannot imagine how long this takes. Especially, I mean, looking at the set behind you. Now, this is for Abysmal Purgatory, right?
Yeah, this is part of it. This has changed a few times, but it was a matter of I had one thing over here, which I won't really show because that's important. And then I'm like, I need something else. So I actually built it in another room, but then we needed that room for something else. So I filmed a bunch of stuff. And then I'm like, okay, I'll put these two together. Now we can film with both of these. Then I changed the side a little bit. And then just recently, I'm like, you know what? Because it's kind of like it got more physical in the scenes towards the end with my character. I'm like, I should be able to get the camera at least to go 180, at least here and here. All over here is where all I do all my makeup, and all my makeup supplies are over here. But I made like almost three-quarters of the room now the set, just so we had
Oh,
more freedom to move around and everything. But what the reason I brought up last night, filming last night, was because you talked about how long it takes for like 3 seconds.
yeah.
Even the night before, I was setting up my backyard. Luckily we have a nice big backyard and everything. A lot of trees. We got a lot of trees, so a lot. I can fake doing some wood scenes. It looks like we're in the forest, even though my backyard's definitely not a forest. Um, you'll see in the actual movie how we end up pulling that off. But I'm setting things up. I'm like, okay, I'm going to be here, but I know I'm like, I gotta block that. And we've had some storms over the past 2 years. We filmed most of that stuff 2 years ago, actually. But now I'm like, oh crap, I don't have this. There was a tree here with all these branches. Now I gotta fill that space. So I'm trying to figure out stuff. So I'm out there for like 2 hours, and I'm saying to myself as I'm like, this is all for a 3 second shot. And then we said it something last night. Rich is goofing around. He goes, "How long is this gonna be on film for? Like 3 seconds?" I go, "Yep." I go, "But it's the little details. That's what make all this work." And it does.
That's
I don't
awesome.
want it to look half-assed. So yeah,
Yeah.
even though the shots we did are very quick, and that forced perspective shot maybe 2 seconds, 2.5 seconds long, but it took us over an hour, hour and a half to get that one shot. Well, granted, we did multiple takes, but we had to balance things. It was like physics are coming into this.
But that's what makes it all worth it, though. It
Oh yeah,
really it becomes a beautiful thing, and that's what's so terrifying about when people talk about AI and they're like, "Oh, but you don't have to do anything." It's like, but that's what makes it.
that's the
That,
what's wrong with
yeah,
it? You
yeah,
don't
that's
have
what's
to
so
do
fun.
anything. Yeah, what's the point?
Yeah, and I've been hearing people and reading people say like, well, but people shoot on digital, and it's like, but that's not AI, because digital you still have to set up the lighting, you still have to do stuff, and yeah, and it's like people, I feel like the people that are the defenders of AI are not artistically inclined, or they don't have any appreciation of it, or for it. I mean, whether it's music or film or whatever, and it's
I
like,
can understand wanting to try it and being happy with some of if you get some cool results or whatever. Because I've seen some stuff is like, oh shit, that's really impressive looking, but it's AI, so it's still crap.
yeah.
But uh, it's the fact that yeah, you see people just straight out say, oh, I can just do this. Oh, I can just use this file. I'm like, but why don't you take the time and learn how to do it?
Yeah.
Especially music. Like, I'm like, no, sorry, you're a loser. You're a pathetic, talentless loser.
Yeah.
Oh, I can use these vocals for my stuff. It's nothing. It's a computer doing it for you. You ain't doing shit. So I'm sorry. You deserve no respect at all.
Yeah. Did you see Burzum? He just had an AI album
Oh,
apparently.
really?
And so people are like, "Man, what's worse, being a Nazi and killing your bandmate or AI
I will say though, there's one band. Still, I haven't posted anything from them. Whether they do AI videos, I don't know where the hell they're from. It's like something like Prague or the Czech Republic or something. I'm not. I don't even know how to pronounce their name. It's like Caesar or something like that.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
like
yeah.
Czart. But the way they do it, it's so chaotic
Hmm.
and insane that I am like, that's actually kind of cool.
Yeah.
I like the way they're doing it because it's so it's just like you watch it, you're like, what the fuck was that? That's but they're doing music. They're now doing the music and stuff. They are a band. I heard they used to do some highlighted stuff with AI, but hopefully they'll get rid of that and just stick with the music. But I'll admit, I do like the way they do their videos because they're so chaotic. And it's insane looking. It's the fact that they do that. I don't know. They tapped into something with that.
Yeah.
Whereas I've seen some AI stuff on Instagram where I look at it, I go, Jesus Christ. All right, if that's how it is, yeah. I won't say about practical stuff because practical still has a life of its own. But some people are gonna hate me for saying this, but I can see AI. I look at some AI stuff. I go, well, what's the point of CGI?
Yeah.
Because it's so good looking and it's so goddamn realistic looking. Like these creatures with just this. Bleh, and I look at something like I could admit that looks amazing. Whereas still, when I look at CGI, I go, yeah, CGI. Oh, why does all? I don't understand how so much CGI when they have so much money behind it
Yeah.
still just looks like a live action cartoon. But yeah, some of this AI stuff does look. It looks so close to being realistic.
Yeah.
But the thing also is, it's just lit. You notice these videos are only like 10 seconds.
Hmm.
There's
Yep.
10-second clips. So, like, okay, can you actually pull this off or like make a whole 2 minutes of that?
Yeah.
Probably not.
And CGI, it almost looks like it's gotten worse.
Oh, it's gotten way worse.
And I think part of it too is I know they overwork like certain like Marvel and stuff, they'll overwork the artists and stuff, but like I mean, I think there was a point where CGI was incredible. Like I think of those
Jurassic
first three.
Park.
Oh yeah, Jurassic Park, and I think
That's
the first
incredible.
three. Yeah, I mean it's and it still holds up, and
Yeah, you still
um
watch it now and it's like, it looks amazing. Like, they got fucking dinosaurs on there. That looks
yeah,
amazing. But then ever since then,
yeah,
they half-ass it now. They totally half-ass it.
yeah,
And I'm sorry, I'll say that right to a CGI artist's face. I'm like, it's not good enough. No.
yeah.
It's like they're like, oh, that's good enough. People will accept it. People aren't accepting it. I have people of all ages come to my tables at conventions like, I am so sick of CGI. It's
Mhm.
ruined movies. I'm like, yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I got water.
What's that?
I was just looking at the camera going, I got water.
Oh, it was cool.
I was craving a soda wicked bad, but you can never drink soda during these things because you know you're gonna burp.
Oh, yeah, that's why I've been a little scared about drinking coffee. Uh, I'm so dumb too. When I said I was going to go get water, I was literally about to say, "Can I get you anything?" My mind is. I'm a night owl, so the day, like the entire day, is me trying to wake up. So
Yeah, exactly. Same thing here.
yeah,
Like, I'm mostly doing YouTube stuff now. That's luckily. It's a weird thing about the unemployment thing. I'm like, maybe this happened for a reason because there's a lot of things we wanted to do with the business, but
yeah,
we never could, or it just seemed like we couldn't risk spending money on this. I was so I've always been like, I don't want to do gig work. I don't want to have to worry about where's my next paycheck coming from.
yeah.
So I've had a full-time job ever since I got out of high school. And then the movie thing is just whenever we have time. That's why it takes us so damn long. And but now I'm like, I've got the time to do this. I can. Why don't we're taking risks and it's working out. I'm actually getting the eBay thing going pretty decent, and that's what I was doing before we started doing this. But at the same time, it's like I notice it'll be midnight, or I was up until 1 o'clock in the morning last night, and just I'm sitting there listing stuff. I'm like, it works better at night for me.
I'm the same way. I think I went to sleep at like 5 last night, and I was like, I looked at the clock. I was like, okay, Jesus, I gotta. I because I like I'll be on Instagram or I'll watch a movie or something and I'm like, okay, Landon, like you gotta go to sleep, or I'm
I
like
started
brewing.
doing that the first like 3 weeks, or maybe the first month. But then I'm like, oh, you know, you're gonna mess yourself up. You keep doing
Yep.
this. You try to get back to a normal schedule. So as long as I'm in bed by 1:30.
Yeah.
But then sometimes I'm laying there in bed and I can't sleep. I haven't been able to sleep again recently. It's so messing me up.
Yeah, I started taking a new medication where thank God I can finally sleep because I've always had sleep problems and finally
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I can actually sleep. This is great. And also thank you again for doing this, Brian. I'm like I said, I'm a huge fan and even when you messaged me about the associate producer credit, I literally I told everyone I was like, guys, and one of my friends, he's a big film buff, but he does not like he likes some horror movies, but he doesn't like the super gory stuff.
Yep.
And he's like, "Well, who's Brian Paulin?" So I was like showing him your Instagram and like the effects. He's like, "Oh my God." So, but like I actually I think I was next to my girlfriend when you sent that, and I was like, "Oh my God, Brandy!" And she's like, "What?" I was like, "I'm gonna be." He gave me an associate producer credit on the phone. She goes, "Nuh-uh." I was like, "Yeah," and I showed her the message. She's like, "Holy shit!" Because like I said, she's a huge fan too, and she's the one
Perfect.
that
Thank you.
she's the one that pushed me to message you where she was because she was like, ask him if he'll do Morbid Vision sweatshirts and t-shirts because she's like, I will buy one. Like I and she was like, if he wants help like trying to fund for that, I will help. So I will
Oh,
throw that out there.
well, thank you very much. Thank you for helping, get Abysmal Purgatory made. So yes, yes. So he is an associate producer on Abysmal Purgatory. I was trying to figure out a way to bring that up at some point in this.
I had to show off and just say that, I guess.
Yeah, no
Um,
problem at all.
but going back to the autumn films, I know I've gotten us off topic and everything. Like my goal was to talk about autumn films, and then
Yeah,
we've talked about so much, but you did bring up the kaiju films, and I also am a huge fan, and this goes back to the practical effects. I mean, I thought Godzilla minus one, I thought the effects were really well done.
yeah,
Not my favorite Godzilla film, but still
yeah.
great. Gamera is my favorite. I don't really care for the Showa era, but the Heisei era is incredible.
Oh yeah, yep.
Um,
That's box it.
and the my favorite is probably two, but I don't know what it. Well, actually, I'm about to tell you. I was about to say I don't know what makes these great fall movies, but I know exactly what they are. Um, the colors.
Mm, yeah.
It's got a very like earth tone,
Mm,
like earthy greens and stuff like that. Like there was something about like the film stock of like I guess it was like the film stock and the way they were color grading films of and lighting them like of like even in the 70s, but like the 80s, the 90s, and the early 2000s, it just looks so beautiful.
yeah.
Even like Battle Royale, like
Mm,
it even has that really gorgeous look, but also too, I mean, monster films are so much fun to watch and like, it getting dark out early and just like, I think back to going back to the Universal films, my mom, one of my favorite memories is she showed me and my sister and our friends Creature from the Black Lagoon.
yeah.
And it was still daytime and she closed the curtains and made us popcorn, gave us soda. And I was just like, I was blown away. And I think that's what really made me fall in love with the monster movies and then watching, Godzilla and Gamera and stuff like that. But also too, I mean, all the practical effects and all, I mean, they're gorgeous and the battles are great and the characters are wonderful and the writing and I mean, even the fact that they like where Gamera has characterization to him is
Yeah.
really impressive. Are you a fan of the Heisei era Gamera
Yeah,
films?
yeah. Yeah, those I think the Gamera, I always say Gamera, but I don't know which way is supposed to be the right way.
I don't
But
either.
I think they did a lot better job than the Godzilla movies at that time.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's because they were way more serious and they're just done better.
yeah.
So yeah, I definitely like them.
Well, it's like what you said about comparing the Evil Dead to the other ones is it's played straight.
Yeah,
And I think that's a big thing going back to like the problems with contemporary horror is just there's always kind of like some kind of ironic detachment or like some kind of like And this was, I don't know what it was, but like in the 2010s, it was so many horror films were being described as Carpenter-esque. And it was
Yeah.
like, oh, the lighting and the synth scores and stuff like that. But they were like always callbacks to the 80s.
Yeah.
And it was just like, it was all tongue in cheek. And it's just like, I
Yeah.
can't get into that. I mean, like, I don't mind humor in horror movies or in movies in general, but like, I think that that's like, even talk about S. Craig Zahler is what separates him from a lot is people go, oh well, his movies are callback to Grindhouse films, and I go, I don't see that at all.
Hmm.
I guess I can understand it, but like
I can see it, but he has his own style.
very, very distinct.
Now,
It
something I noticed in his third movie, oh, it just flew out of my head.
dragged
The
across
one Mel
concrete,
Gibson.
dragged across concrete.
Yeah, yeah, that one. It was like I'm watching it and I'm wondering where it's gonna go, and my brain's wondering if he's gonna go to a certain point, and then I'm like, he's gonna that one especially. It's just a very different style where it's very subdued sometimes, and then I'm like, that's what it is. His movies are like a novel.
Yeah,
You know how
100%.
everyone's always saying you have to change, be cinematic doesn't work, the novelization doesn't work with cinema and stuff. You have to switch it around. He actually is telling his movies as a book.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm like, that's what's different about the way he does it. Okay.
He absolutely takes his time and because like he definitely has humor in his movie and especially like in Dragged Across Concrete like some of that dialogue because there's all that controversy with Zoller where it's like oh is he alt-right or whatever so like
Mm.
there's definitely some of that dialogue where it's tongue in cheek where I think he's kind of like messing with the critics and stuff but again for the most part like it is played straight but he still has the humor and stuff like that and I think that's what makes his work so special and I've even kind of come to think of like Brawl in Cell Block 99 as a fall movie. I don't know why. Again, I think it goes to those colors and just like he's never made a horror movie, but he always has horror elements.
He wants to.
I would love
But
for him to.
he said he really wants to do like an underground gore movie. He told me we were emailing back and forth all the time. And he's actually really cool. To give you an idea of what type when as I got to know him, also he's just like, hey, I'll send you a copy of my black metal band CD. I'm like, you're in a black metal band? Holy shit. I'm like, that's so cool. And then it's like we're like so much alike, it's unbelievable.
Yep.
So and then I will say I don't bring it up because I don't want to sound like I'm tooting my own horn or anything like that, but we was something about Brawl and Cell Block 90. There was a certain scene I can't remember exactly. I think I know, but not exactly. He goes, "Yeah, you inspired that shot." I'm like,
Oh,
"Are you
really?
serious?" He
That's
goes, "Yeah,
awesome.
that's there because of Fetus." I was
Oh,
like,
wow.
"Oh shit, no way!"
Hell
So
yeah.
I thought that was just like, all right, that's really cool.
That is awesome. Well, I can't remember. I think it was Cryptic Plasm. I saw special things and it says that to S. Craig Zoller. And me and my girlfriend both went, "Oh my God, that's and it was like, and I don't know why, because like I know we've talked about that, like that he's a fan of your work and stuff like
Yeah,
that. But yeah, like, and again, it goes back to that like that kind of like DIY approach. I mean, obviously he has a crew and a cast and everything,
yeah,
but it's and I know he talked about he wanted to make an SOV film called I think it's like Flesh Beneath the Concrete or something, which is such a great title, and I'd
yeah, yeah.
love to see that. And I'm actually reading one of his books right now called Congregation of Jackals.
Okay.
And as I was reading it, and of all times, I was actually I had to take somebody to the hospital. I was in the waiting room, and I was reading it, and I was like, "Oh my God!" And I came to that realization of how one of the reoccurring things in his films is or in his works is surgery, and because like there's a part where a dog gets like their limbs removed, but it's like it's almost like he describes it as like surgically done almost. And then I think of like some of the stuff in Dragged Across Concrete, and then like in Bone Tomahawk with Arthro Dwyer with his leg, and then in
Yeah.
Brawl about like the abortion and stuff. And I was like, and even some of the stuff in the Forbidden Surgeries of the Hideous Doctor Divinus, I'm like, oh, I wonder if he has like a fear of surgery or if like if that's like a conscious decision. So I'm curious, like with your films, have you ever had something that like you notice about your films that you didn't really notice before that maybe like somebody pointed out to you or like you were just like editing and going, oh, I never noticed I did that until now.
It's been brought up a couple times with the baby stuff.
Oh, I can see that.
Um,
Yeah.
I'm like, well, Fetus was, that was its own story. But then, well, actually, yeah, the one you'll probably never see because the quality is just so bad. But in The Harvester, that was a 60-minute movie we made. We made that when we shut down on Reap of Evil when I was rewriting it. And it's the end of the movie's got baby stuff. There's something else too. And then once in Septic, once you also the camera's going by, and you see that one shot of a guy getting bashing a fetus or whatever.
Yeah.
People are like, what's this your problem with babies? I'm like, I'm not doing it on purpose. Sometimes it just kind of fits. But
Yeah.
I did notice I have to stop because I don't want it to be like, oh, that's your shock gag now. So I'm like, no,
Yeah.
hey, that's gonna stop.
No more baby stuff.
Yeah.
Um,
Unless the story calls for it, but there's nothing in Abysmal Purgatory because it
okay.
didn't. There's no reason for it in this.
Well, and you I had it somewhere over here. Oh yeah, you at one point sent me this. Is it Symbolicus Volume 2?
Oh yeah,
And now the short in there, you said that kind of was what led to Abysmal Purgatory?
yeah. That was the idea I came up with for that. I don't want to try to do as much as I could within that 5 minutes and do it cosmic horror, put in creature effects and all that stuff. And it was a little bit afterwards. I was like, I liked what we did there. It just felt it was so much fun to do that after making Septic, because Septic is like one of my only reality-based horror movies.
Yeah.
Because it was just, snuff and red rooms and stuff like that. So, and there was times I had ideas for the finale. I'm like, oh, I can't do that because that's too close to supernatural. So it was as much fun as it was, and as far as we went with the gore and the nastiness, it was very restrictive. So that 5 minute short allowed me to just have fun and like, all right, I'm doing this. Yeah, I'm gonna put this big creature thing in here and stuff. It was after that I'm like, oh, I want to do this again. I want to do something like this. And then I started thinking about the story of what that was, and then it just in my head it just expanded and blew up. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to turn this into like a half hour short or a 45-minute short. And then as it evolved, and most of the times that's what I do now. I don't write scripts anymore. I let my stories evolve
Oh,
as
really?
we film. I'll do the outline. I'll make an outline. This is what the movie's about. This is how it starts, and this is where it's going. And then we'll start filming because I don't want to sit around for 6 months writing a script.
Yeah.
I can't do that. I'm just like, no, I want to film. I want to work on something. So once I realized that, all right, this is what we're dedicating ourselves to, and then that's how Abysmal Purgatory came to be. We've been filming this movie for 3 years now for
Wow.
multiple reasons. Also, because it's so many effects. It's the most effects we've ever tried to do ever
Oh,
in a
really?
movie. So it's taken a long time. But I just now know how the movie's ending.
Oh, after 3 years.
After 3 years, I finally like, okay, I think I got the endings of the movie now.
And so do you still think it'll be a 2025 release or maybe push back to 2026?
I no, now it's definitely the earliest. I'm just going to be realistic. Is the earliest is spring of 26.
Okay. Okay.
And I think I'm about to have another problem with my goddamn computer with editing. I think
Oh,
I've run out of memory.
oh God.
And I'm gonna have to whatever needs to be done with that. I'm gonna have to ask someone, all right, what do I do? What do I buy? Can you do it? Because I was just playing back little clips and all of a sudden it's like insufficient memory. I'm like, no, what the hell? So I got to take care of that soon because actually I'm working on a short film for Germany. I'm doing something for someone in Germany. So we're just gonna sidetrack for a second because it's gonna be done fast and we gotta send it for like December. But I'm like, oh crap! I think I have to fix my computer before I edit that.
Yeah, well,
But
oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
oh no, I was just like, so yeah, that's just different stuff you got to deal with.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you didn't say like, oh, it's gonna be like fall of 26. I was gonna be like, oh God, like don't don't make me wait that long.
My goal is either May or June of 26. I'm like, I don't want to wait any longer. And it's gotten to that point now where it's like, okay, even though I'm having fun, it is time to wrap this up.
Yeah.
And I already have half the finale done because the girl that plays my daughter in the movie, um, she had a lot of effects. We did a lot of big effects with her, and we did that all at times because well, the main problem was she was when she started filming, I think she was 15.
Okay.
Problem with a 15-year-old is within like a 2 year span, they suddenly look like an adult.
Yeah,
So I'm like, we
yeah.
got to get this stuff done so she still looks like my daughter in the movie. So we wrapped up her stuff really quick, and it all still fits and everything. So yeah, I'm like, oh, cool. Half the finale's already done. All her stuff's already done. Now I can just do like my character stuff. All her stuff still fits, but it was the other stuff around it. I'm like, all right, I changed some things, and the story is definitely a lot better now.
Nice.
And it all tied in naturally again. Like I said, it naturally evolved because I ended up like in this place where this all takes place. And then originally that was when I first described the movie, I was saying they end up like in a hell-like dimension. But I got rid of that. Now it's the plateau of Lang from H.P. Lovecraft stories.
Oh, very cool.
And it all just kind of fit. We were already I went into the Lovecraft, the Mythos encyclopedia, and I'm reading about it, and I'm like, we're already filming this. It was like three or four things they're describing that's already in Abysmal Purgatory. I'm like, well, that's just perfect. This is what it's about. All right, now we know where this is. But because of that, I'm like, oh, to get from where I am here back to the finale, I'm like, ugh, there wasn't like a good progression. But then an idea popped in my head. We had some really sick ideas. I'm like, what if we do this or whatever? And it's like we kind of went up to here and like, all right, let's bring it more to this way. And that's gonna be really gross. And but now something that happens now all makes sense and it gives the finale purpose. And I'm like, well, there we go. That's the end of the movie. Now I know how the movie ends.
Very nice. Very nice. Yeah, I'm excited. I've been waiting for a while, and it's so funny too, because when I was watching oh my God. Oh, it's right here. The other one, Morbid Tales.
Oh yeah.
I was thinking, I was like, man, like it's got to be so wild to be working on a film now in 2025, and then to look back at like 92 and to think like the evolution of the films, the evolution of the effects and stuff like that. Like, is it ever weird to or like even like when you got the offer from Saturn's Core, or like if you ever go back and watch your films, is it ever strange to be like, wow, I can't believe my films ended up from there to here? Like, whether it's like in terms of like the scope of the story, the effects, or anything like that.
I kind of look at everything. I look back and it all looks like practice.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, cool. I was like, cool. Look what we did. Like our first short one, Sacrificial Birth, just a 10-minute short. But we always joke around like it was our first one, but yet we had a demon in full makeup. Rich was a full demon in makeup. We had an animatronic baby ripping out of a back and moving and stuff. Like we did that for our very first thing. So yeah, it's all just progression. It's all kind of like, I'll think about certain things like, oh, well, I'll have Reap of Evil sitting there. Or Morbid Tales. I actually say it a lot of times with Morbid Tales at a convention. I'll ask someone if I'm talking to them and they seem really interested, have you seen any of our movies? And say no. I'm like, all right, you don't want that one because that's actually the first time we're showing people our very first shots. I said you'd rather introduce yourself with one of these movies like Cryptic Plasm or Fetus or whatever. I
Yeah.
said that shows what we do. This is giving people a look into how it started, but it's for people who have already been seeing our movies. So I warn people because I don't want people's first impression to be Reap of Evil or the short films because that's not who we are now. It's still who we were, but at least we've progressed a lot more and we're much better at what we're doing. So, but then go back and check it out.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing about Reap of Evil, where I was like, I cannot believe this is his first feature-length film. Like that film, in terms of like even just like the sheer like scope and like that hell sequence is incredible. And
Thanks.
like there are certain films where when I hear that there's a hell sequence, or if I see, because I didn't know anything about Reap of Evil before I saw it, but like I, because not to like shit talk anybody, but there's that film, The Burning Moon. I think his name is Olaf Ittenbach.
Yeah,
Um, I was hearing like that's like a classic in like the underground scene, and I watched it, and it has its moments, but like I thought that hell sequence at the end was goofy to me.
yeah.
It almost kind of like I don't know, but then like I see something like Reap of Evil, I'm like, oh my God, like it's and like all like the fire and again like the that distortion from the VHS, like it's insane. And then going to something like Morbid Tales, what's really funny is that ending, I think it's like a post-credit scene and with the two girls.
Oh yeah.
And I thought that was so funny. And I was like, I was not expecting that kind of ending for, a Brian Paulin film. But what's so funny is I think it might have been Rich George. Uh he was talking about or like he shares his story or whatever, and you make a comment like I think then your short play I can't remember, but you make a comment of like, well, at least mine goes somewhere. So I can't remember what
Yeah.
exactly you say, but it was like it felt like you were having so much fun making that film.
We figured that's our retro movie. Worth I had to be talked into to making Morbid Tales because I'm like the short films. I always tell people the in joke of the movie is these three guys they make a deal with a demon and they have to entertain him with these stories and it's our first three short stories. But the in joke is that the first three shorts suck, so they all die. So I'm like I come right out. I'm like yeah, there's a reason why I didn't release those and everything, but yeah, I mean, we're having fun with it. And then when we're doing the stuff with the young girls and everything, it just like they wanted to do it. It was like I was filming some extra stuff for them because they were having fun. It was their first experience with it. But then once we did that, I'm like, kind of fits. Screw it. Let's just throw on because
Yeah.
this is just kind of like a celebration movie. That's like even the opening credits. If you notice, it says Mo Mob Vision Films triple creature feature
Yeah,
instead
yeah,
of
yeah.
creature double feature. We creature triple feature. I put that. That was all just. It was just like we're just having fun.
Yeah.
This is just our early movies and everything. We're just the whole. This definitely isn't septic or fetus. So, but
Well,
then when it came to doing the finale and all the new gore, it's like then we're just well, obviously we're gonna go as far as we can with stuff. So
and talk about awe-inspiring. My God, that effect is insane. I like the plant and
like,
I was or the tree like that was crazy. And well, and that's the thing too is again, like I thought those shorts were really strong because again, I mean, I think the number one thing about a horror film is atmosphere. And I think that's why a lot of 90s horror was terrible is it had no atmosphere. It was
no,
terrible.
awesome. Yep.
And so watching that, it's like they were pretty I can't remember the one. It might say it on the back.
We actually put them in the movie out of order.
Oh, okay.
I just thought it progressed better by having, I think we put Final Scream as the third short, where it's actually that's the second one that we made. But
The
I just figured I thought put the two short ones and then have Final Scream. I just thought the pacing would be better that way.
Final Scream, that's the one. Yeah, I think that's the third. That's when they're going through the woods and everything.
Yeah, that's Rich George, like lost in a nightmare in the woods.
I love that one. That was all. And actually, it was funny too because watching Phantasm, I was like, it kind of reminded me of that short. It's just so atmospheric and it's not very effects heavy, but again, it's like if you don't, I think that goes back to like why 90s horror just wasn't good. Is yeah, okay, not a lot of gore, that's fine, but if you don't have that atmosphere, it's like it doesn't matter, you know.
That Final Scream was that's two 80s teenagers expressing their love for 80s horror. That was what we were doing out there.
It's awesome.
And that was only our second one, so I couldn't do like big effect stuff yet. So it was just like slit throats and stuff like that and some demon makeups. We
Well,
actually brought that up. Sorry, we actually brought that up last night. It was just Rich and I out in my backyard. We got all the lighting, the fog. We didn't have fog machines back then, but setting things up and as it was kind of cold. It was, whatever. Same exact time of the year. We filmed Final Scream during September and half of October. And I turn to him, I go, "Oh man, I just got a massive flashback." He's like, "What?" I go, "This feels like filming Final Scream." He's like, "Yeah, it does, yeah." Which like this is so cool.
that's awesome. Well, going back, are there any other like autumn movies that you feel are kind of like, or any films that are like essential to this time of year, like that kind of almost in a way, like you said, being like this is like Final Scream, where it just kind of reminds you of like why this time of the year is so great.
Mm. Well, definitely Trick or Treat is the newest one that's become like a traditional one. But
Oh,
so definitely all three of the first three Halloweens. Even Halloween 3, I love Halloween 3,
I do
which
too.
I didn't like at first, but when I was a teenager I didn't care for it, but now I love it. So it grew on me. Uh Night of the Demons because it takes place on a Halloween and it's just fun. Although that movie, it's fun. I usually watch the first half because the second half, even though that's where all the gore is, it kind of gets a little repetitive, but it's still fun.
Yeah.
Um, I'm kind of going blank for some reason, but it's also because surprisingly, I'm not all horror movies during Halloween time,
Oh,
during
okay.
spooky season. I'm more like you mentioned. I watch Halloween episodes,
Yeah.
classic Halloween. I love Halloween episodes of TV shows. So a lot of times when I'm sitting down or if I'm eating and I want to put something on, I'll put on a episode of Happy Days, the Halloween episode of Happy Days. That's what I'm watching. Or like Roseanne. Roseanne had all those great episodes.
Yeah.
So I spend more time actually watching TV episodes of Halloween stuff because that's almost because it is Halloween. It totally embodies Halloween because it's like Halloween night on these during these half-hour shows or whatever. So I'm very heavily into that stuff.
Okay. Yeah, because I'm the same way. I actually feel that way about Christmas episodes too.
Yeah. Yep.
And like there are certain like every year, like if I don't watch Rudolph, I'm like, well, I've wasted the whole year. Like
Yep. Yep.
I this sucks. But like
Traditions.
yeah, and like so like with something like Halloween, the first Halloween SpongeBob episode, I absolutely love. And it's like it's great and like it's I'm going to ask, have you ever watched SpongeBob?
I've seen some episodes, but that one never like fully got me.
Okay. I
But
I
I know it. I have seen some of it.
I think it always it's I'm always shocked when some people haven't seen it or haven't seen much of it. I'm like, I guess like it is also like that's like the defining thing of my generation. Like
Yeah,
again, I
exactly.
was born
Yeah.
in 97, so it's like and that came out in 99, but and it's funny because my girlfriend's a little older than I am, and I'm like, you've never seen SpongeBob? And she's like, well, why would I? And I'm like, well, because it's awesome. But like, so I've shown her stuff, and that episode, the first one is there's this character named the Flying Dutchman, and SpongeBob wants to dress up as him, but he wears a sheet over him, and like because of his square figure, they're like, you just look like a pillow or like a mat like a haunted mattress.
I think I've seen this. I think
Yeah,
I've seen this one. Yeah.
it's like it's just so good, like the Halloween party, and it's got like surf rock
Yeah.
at the Krusty Krab. It's just it works so well. And then the
It's
second,
certain ones just grab you. It makes it feel like
yeah,
yeah, Halloween.
and the second episode is called I think it's called I Was a Teenage Gary, and Squidward doesn't feed the SpongeBob snail Gary, and like there's a shot of plasm, and he accidentally gets it on his nose, and so like he's turning in or on SpongeBob, and so like he's like slowly turning into a snail. And I remember as a kid, I was like, that is awesome. Like it's a genuinely like creepy episode. And like it even generated like this whole myth that the first time it was broadcast, there was like this huge transformation scene that was like really creepy. And it's kind of like become like a creepy pasta.
I
And
heard
like,
about this. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, and the people involved with the show were like, yeah, that does not exist. Like that's total BS, but people have really run with it.
Yeah.
But going back to the specials in the TV, I mean, classic. It's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. I mean,
Oh yeah. I've
it's
already watched it 2 or 3 times.
I for some reason I haven't watched it yet, but this is another like same with the Christmas episode or the Christmas special. It's like if I don't watch it, I'm like my year is ruined. Like
Yep.
what was I waiting for? And it's another one. It's so comfy and as a kid, like you said, Halloween felt dangerous, and it's like, but at the same time, it was so comfy because
Mm,
I like when it gets dark out early. At least at this time of the year. Once it's like hits January, I'm like,
yeah.
I need to see some sun. This is just
Yeah.
depressing as hell. But like, it gets dark out early and like that brisk air and just like smell of coffee and the candy, it's awesome. And that's exactly what that reminds me of. And yeah, and then I actually have two. I had a whole like huge stacks of movies. I'm like, I'm definitely not going to be able to talk about all these. But these two, Coraline and Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Oh,
Those other two where it's just like that atmosphere is just perfect, and
Yep.
it's it's one of those that like even though I was obsessed with both of those as a kid, the older I get, it's like I appreciate them more. Like it's just, I mean, even like something like SpongeBob, for some reason, I find myself like dying laughing at it. I'm like, I did not laugh at it like I did when I was a kid. Have you ever seen Coraline?
I actually have a copy of it from a place where I used to work. They had demo version of it. Well, actually, yeah, it's a promotional version. And I was wondering about getting stuff for eBay. And I saw it. I'm like, oh, promotional. Maybe we shouldn't sell it. I'm like, I haven't seen this yet. I've always wanted to watch it, so I haven't seen it yet. But I gotta try to. I gotta try to get to that.
It's another one. It has that like really like nightmarish quality, and it was done by Henry Selick. So of course everyone's like, "Oh, Tim Burton directed." It's like, no,
Hmm.
it was Henry Selick, but you can definitely see that Burton impact. Same with like Nightmare Before Christmas and James and the Giant Peach,
Yeah.
like, but like super nightmarish, and like I remember I saw that as a kid, and I hate 3D. It gives me a headache.
Hmm.
But as a kid, I saw it, in 3D, and it was great. And it just like the button eyes and all that, like it's super creepy. And I think it works really well for kids because it's like it's not a straight up horror movie, but it's
Yeah.
creepy enough to scare them. And I feel that way about Monster House as well. Have you seen this one?
I haven't seen that one. No.
This came out when I was a kid, and it's an and actually Dan Harmon is one of the writers of this, and who I'm not like the biggest fan of, but like he like Community and stuff is incredible. And there's this joke where like they go into the house, and I think it's like the chandelier is supposed to be like the like the uvula, and she's like the girl character, I can't think of her name. She's like, "Oh, that must be the uvula." And one of the kids goes, "Oh, so it's a girl house." And like little things like that that went completely over my head when I was a kid.
Yeah.
But it's like it's again it's like super creepy, and like I remember there's a character where like the babysitter, she's like kind of like punk goth kind of, and I was just like, oh my God, like this is exactly how I am as a kid, like obsessed with like horror, and like has those kind of babysitters and stuff like
Yeah.
that. It's a lot of fun. I highly recommend
I'll have
checking
to
it
check it
out.
out. Because like ones I have seen, I've seen Paranorman, and I
Oh
love that.
yeah,
I thought that was a great movie.
that's a lot of fun.
I ended up seeing Hotel Transylvania, mainly because I used to work in a TV place, and that was one of the movies we had that we'd run. So I've seen that movie like 20 times.
And it's
Just
surprisingly
from,
really fun.
it was fun though.
Yeah. And I actually kind of felt like the second one was even better. And I was
I
like,
keep meaning to watch the second one. Like I've seen the first one so many times, I gotta check out the second one sometime.
and it's funny too, because the guy who did it is Genndy Tartak I think his name is Genndy Tartakovsky. He did like the Star Wars Clone Wars and like
Okay.
Dexter's Laboratory and Primal. And so I'm like, how did he go from that to like CG animation? But it's pretty sweet. Like, oh, sorry, my films just went flying everywhere. But they're just really fun movies. So I'm curious, like, what are you big into like are there certain albums or like books or anything that really fit for this time of the year for you too?
Well, I collect like the old vintage Halloween albums, like Halloween records and stuff.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah.
that's where my brain automatically goes.
Well, I remember you said something about I've watched your YouTube videos, and you there was one where you're talking about like the Halloween memories,
Oh
and
yeah,
there was that one, was it the toe?
the skinny toe. Yeah,
Yeah. And I looked it up on YouTube, and I went, "Oh my God, heard this when I was a kid as well." Because there were also these books called Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark.
yeah. I found out about that like 10 years ago. I'm like, oh, I didn't realize there was another version of that.
And it scared the hell out of me. There's such like the stories are pretty strong, but the I can't think of the man's name, the artist. They're so good. Like they're super detailed,
Yeah,
but
they had creepy art in those books.
yeah, and they're super minimal too. Like show just enough. Like they're almost
Mhm.
kind of like suggestive or like
Yeah,
impressionistic in a way.
kind of
Um,
nightmarish almost. Like your brain is only catching a portion of it or something.
oh yeah, and I remember there's one story in there because when I was a kid going to school, I remember going to the library and I basically rented or like checked out like the same books. It was the three scary stories to tell in the dark, all the Goosebumps, like any of the Edgar Allan Poe and like H.P. Lovecraft stuff I could find. I was obsessed with it.
Yep.
And I'm sure the teachers were probably like, "What is wrong with this kid? Like, come on." But there was one story where this farmer like kills his wife and he like turns her into sausage. Like I'm reading this in like third grade. I'm like, what the hell? And he like kills the entire town and like turns them into sausage and stuff. And I remember like as a kid that just like turned my stomach. I'm like, what am I reading here? Because there was something extra scary about like cannibalism because it was like the
Yeah.
idea that you could literally like devour somebody. It's like that's what made Texas Chainsaw Massacre so scary. Well, part of what made that movie so
Yeah.
terrifying because it's like the idea that these people are just like viewing others literally as just like meat. It's terrifying. Like it's like
Yeah.
they're just butchers.
It's a definitely a messed up concept.
Yeah. Well, another one, we talked a little bit about Argento. Are you a Deep Red fan at all?
I haven't seen that one a lot. I think I've only seen it twice, but I've been actually just been meaning to want to see it again. Actually, I've been wanting to see it since I saw Goblin live,
Oh,
Claudio Simonetti. And when I heard that music, I recognized it right away. I'm like, I gotta watch this movie again. So that's one of the ones I've seen the least, unfortunately.
okay. Do you
But
have a favorite Argento?
Tenebrae,
Oh, yeah,
I love Tenebrae.
that movie. And that arm scene painting the
Ah,
wall. It's art.
that's so awesome.
Yeah. It's
Unfortunately, the first time I saw it, I saw the American version, which was called Unsane,
oh,
and it had all that gore taken out of it.
yeah. That's
So, yeah, it didn't come out in America unrated until probably when Anchor Bay finally put it out somewhere in the mid 90s or whatever.
wow.
So it took that. I had seen the scene because I had Dario Argento's World of Horror VHS, and
Yeah.
they showed the gore scenes in that. I'm like, I just want to see it in the movie, but it took forever before I could finally see the movie uncut.
That movie is that's one of my friend Nate, he's a huge fan of that film. That's his favorite horror film. He goes, "How can you not think Tenebrae is his best?" I'm like, "I'm sorry, I think Deep Red is." But he's another that atmosphere. It's like even when it's like story driven, like something like Deep Red,
Yep.
it's it's so atmospheric and that scene of the doll coming out
Oh yeah,
toiling. I mean it's great and
such
that
a great shot.
what's that?
Such a great shot.
Oh yeah, and again, it's so atmospheric and so brutal, and but it's like I think what really makes a great horror filmmaker is when a film is brutal, even when there's no gore or
Mm,
even when there's no action taking place.
yep.
Like that sense of terror. I keep bringing up Fulci, so I might as well. This is the Blue Underground collection. It's got City of the Living Dead, House by the Cemetery, New York Ripper. And I mean, that's a nut like City of the Living Dead's my favorite Fulci film. And to me, like that scene where they're in the crypt
Yep.
and Fabio Frizzi's music starts to kick in and the zombies come up. I saw Fabio Frizzi back in April or May. He did a live show for Zombie. And that's another. I remember discovering Zombie. I was a kid and I was on YouTube just looking up horror scenes so I could like write down the movies and stuff.
Yep.
And it was the famous shark scene.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, what is this? Like, this is incredible. And I kept seeing different titles like Zombie Flesh Eater, Zombie 2, Zombie. I was like, what? And so I found out like it was called Zombie 2 because Dawn of the Dead was, of
Yeah.
course, called Zombie in Italy. And so I rented it from a place called Visart, which is in Charlotte. And I remember just being like, oh my God, like this is art. Like this is and I think that's what really separates like that cheap kind of like, oh, here's blood and turning gore to like a genuine like art, like where it's almost like poetry,
Yeah.
and I think that's what I think is so special about your work and like Fulci and Argento and I mean it just like and it's a perfect fall movie. I mean, the cobwebs, the crypts, the witches, the music, and
Mm.
that scene where she's crying blood and
Oh
she's
yeah.
burning up her entrails, and it's incredible. And we've talked a little bit about horror conventions. and I think it's so amazing that he got to do that one in New York.
Oh yeah.
It was like I think it was like the Fangoria
Mm.
horror convention, and like Tom Savini was also there. And Fulci, he was very old and frail and sick at that time, but he looked so excited. And he even said, he's like, I had no idea I had fans in America. And it's like, oh, dude, you have no idea. Like but I feel like there are two types of Fulci fans. I feel like there are the Fulci fans that are like, almost kind of look down on him, where it's like,
Yeah,
yeah, his movies are ridiculous, yeah, but they're a lot of fun. And then there are the others where it's like, no, this man is an artist. Like these are incredible. Like find me horror films that are as
yeah,
atmospheric and have great gore effects, and even for that time, because he was making, like stuff in all the way back in the 60s, but like his stuff in the 70s and 80s, like the early 80s, you weren't seeing a lot of gore effects like that.
yeah, yep.
And I felt like it was such a precursor to like The Evil Dead and a lot of the stuff that you saw throughout the 80s, like Return of the Living Dead and stuff like
Mm.
that. Do you have a favorite Fulci film?
City of the Living Dead,
Oh yeah.
definitely. I just watched it again not too long ago. And yeah, when I was a teenager, it was all about the gore. But now I watch it, I'm just like, every frame of this movie is just incredible looking.
Yeah.
And just it's just so thick with atmosphere. I like the atmosphere more now than the gore.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just so it just again it totally sucks you in and you're just watching this thing. It's just yeah, it gives you a certain feel. It gives me a certain feeling when I watch that movie.
Yeah. Again, it just feels like total poetry.
Mm.
And that scene where he's trying to get her out of the coffin
Oh
or the
yeah.
casket, and it's just like when I saw Zombie back in, I think that it was April or May, there were a lot of people that I was overhearing saying, I've never seen this. I have no idea what this is. Because it was at a place called, I think it's called Eulogy, which is also kind of, I think like also a bar, but they do a lot of events there. And you could tell they were definitely horror fans. You were seeing all the horror tattoos and the
Yep.
shirts and the hats and stuff like that. Um, but a lot of people were saying I've never seen this, and the two scenes that got the most, well, the three were, of course, the shark, the eye scene with the wood, and I remember I've never seen an audience reaction like this. People were just going like ape shit, just like oh my, and like just going crazy. And I
That's
remember
cool.
the guy who was sitting in front of me, he turned to his wife or girlfriend or friend or whoever, and he goes, "That was fucking awesome." It was just like it was great, and even like Fulci was great with action. I mean, he knew how to film action. I mean, that
Yeah.
that scene at the end where they're throwing the Molotov cocktails and they're shooting the zombies. I mean, that is just gnarly. And I remember people
Mm.
were going crazy, and the they didn't know. So there was kind of a bit, not a bad thing to happen, but kind of they didn't know what was going to happen in turn. The band didn't, because the projection screen came over the band, so you
Yeah.
couldn't really see them until after the movie.
Yep.
You could kind of see them, but after the film ends, the projector or the screen went up and you could see the band, and everyone's just going crazy, and they're doing bows or taking their bows and stuff. And then he played like an hour of music,
Oh yeah.
him and his band, and he played music from City Living Dead, and it was
That's
just,
cool.
and everyone was just going ape shit. And I just thought like, and what I love too is he still has that total passion for his movies or for his music, because
Yep.
he's closing his eyes and he's just like, you can tell he's so into it. And it's like, well, how could you not? Like this music is legendary.
Yep.
And it's cool to see, because I saw a couple people that they had to have been younger than me. And I thought like, how cool is that Fulci didn't realize he had fans, and that was
Mm.
back in like 94, 98, something like that. And then to this day, you still have new horror fans checking him out and being like,
Yeah.
this is this is where it's at. And I'm glad you said City of Living Dead as well, because he really, I feel like everything just came together perfectly in that film.
Yeah. He just oh he put so much work into that one. It's just
Yeah,
so much good stuff in that movie.
it's awesome. I went to the graveyard where they shot the opening of the film.
Oh wow.
Do you know the band Fulci?
Actually no.
They did an album called, I think it's called Tropical Sun, and it's essentially they sample dialogue from like the dub of the film and stuff like that, and essentially the album's about the film.
Okay.
And they put on their Instagram story, they went to they because they were in Savannah, Georgia, and they're like, we went to the graveyard from City of the Living Dead. I was like, holy shit. So then I ended up going, and I could not find the graveyard. I went to like every graveyard that I could in Savannah. I'm like, where is it? And people were saying it was like Bonaventure, which is the most famous, and I'm like, it's not here. So I was like, well, I'm just gonna message the band and see if they answer. And they did. And they're like, yeah, it's not in Savannah. It's about 45 minutes south of Savannah. And it was my last day there, and I'm like, oh, I live like 4 hours away from here. Like, it's gonna turn like a 4 hour drive to like a five and a half. And I was like, I'm going. I'm doing it. And sure enough, immediately I was like, this is it, because I could see the church and I could see the graveyard. And I was actually dressed as because it was Halloween day,
Oh,
and I was dressed as Joe Bob Briggs, and there's a mechanic right across the street, and I parked there. I was like, hey, can I just check out the graveyard? And he was like looking at me like, yeah, sure. And that graveyard, it smelled like sulfur.
huh.
And I was like, oh, there must be some evil here, you know? And sure enough, there's the tree. And like I was looking on my phone and lining up the shot, and I was like, yep, that's where he hanged
Wow.
himself. And it
That's
was like
awesome.
it was incredible. I mean, I've met people who have worked on different, I there are certain people I hate that I never got to meet. Like never got to meet Romero, never got to meet, Toby Hooper and Fulci and stuff. But to be there, I was like, this is that is just the coolest.
That's awesome.
And I know you're a big uh George Romero fan. As am I. I'm wearing a Dawn of the Dead shirt. Uh and I know you made a video about Romero. So Dawn of the Dead's your favorite, right?
It is now. Originally, it was Day of the Dead, but then Dawn of the Dead took over, and that became my favorite one.
I
Well, out of the Dead ones, actually, Creepshow is my favorite Romero film. But out of the Dead trilogy, well, all the Dead movies, that Dawn of the Dead's my favorite one.
and I feel like those make for great autumn movies too.
Mm,
They always look so cold and just like I don't know, there's something, and even just like the colors of the film, and just like I think they're the perfect films for this time of year.
yeah,
I
well,
met
especially Night of the Living. The way the Night of the Living Dead starts with that creepy music and they're driving into the graveyard. And I don't know, maybe it's because it's in the beginning with Halloween too, so automatically it's like now it does feel like a Halloween movie.
yeah, yeah. It's he was I mean, Romero is one of the greats. I'm not saying anything controversial there. I mean, he's amazing.
Yeah, it was incredible.
And my favorite personally is Martin. Are you a fan of Martin at all?
Yep, yep.
That I saw that one. I've seen it several times, but the most recent was this year. And again, it's just one of those that atmosphere is just so dense. And
Mm.
it's another one that it's so sad, like the whole movie. And Romero had such and I know he started as an industrial filmmaker, and it just the way he edits stuff is so strange. Like he'll have like these little insert shots, or like the way he films movement, where I'm like, there is nobody else that would film something like that. Uh,
Yeah,
that scene where he breaks into that person's home, and the lady, she's got a guy over,
yep,
and they're worried that like, oh, there's somebody in the house. And the way he moves around, I mean, the way he films it and edits it together, I mean, I could map out that entire house essentially.
yeah. I remember that sticking with me. I'm like, just the way that was filmed, I'm like, that was really interesting how he did that.
I've always heard he was a really sweet guy. And I remember you said something about he talked with you for like a while, even though he had like that huge line like the whole day, right?
We got to meet him 3 times.
Okay, yeah.
He went to that Rock and Shock convention 3 times. First time, first time there, huge line. My friends went in line, and then someone came and got me from my table, and someone took over for me. Then I went as we're about to go up. That's when we had like all of our stuff signed. Second time, he was just sitting there. No one was at his table. It was a Sunday, and he was just talking to some friends. And I just said something to him briefly, whatever. He's like, "Thank you very much." It was a third time. It wasn't a long one, but it was just I'll never forget it because it was a Sunday afternoon. I'm like, I gotta get over there and at least say hi to him before he leaves. And this is when, and this year they said, he don't don't ask him. He won't be getting up to do photographs with you. If you want to, get a selfie or go down next to him because he was starting to get sick.
Yeah.
So getting up and walking around was just becoming a bit much for him. It was two younger people up in front of me, and I was just hanging out. I'm like, then the woman who was helping him out, with the photos, which photos do you want and stuff. I'm like, oh, actually, I just want, I just wanted to come over and just say, thank you to him and stuff, whatever. I just wanted to say hi, and they were just finishing up, but he overheard what I said, and he's like, oh, he like turned to me and he started focusing on me. I said, oh, it kind of surprised me. I was like, I just wanted to say hi. I met you a couple times here before. I just want to say hi, and I just wanted to say thank you for all your work. Thank you for everything you've done. Your work is so inspirational. It got me to want to make movies and everything, and I've kind of got my own little thing now, but it's all because of you. And so you and Tom Savini said you and Tom Savini's work together just helped shape my life. And he actually stood up. He stood up, he came up to me, grabbed my hands, and said, thank you for saying that. I was just like, oh my God, this is amazing. I can't believe I'm having this moment with George Romero. It was just so cool. And he was like the nicest guy in the world.
That's
And th-
awesome.
and then that was October, and then I think it was what, like June or July the next summer is when he passed away.
Yeah, and that was what back in 20, was it 17, 16, something like that?
Can't remember. I can't remember when that was. It was somewhere around there, yeah.
Yeah, he was one of those where I was just gutted when I found out he passed. Like, I mean, well, God, this year has absolutely sucked. I mean, when I saw that Lynch had died, I legit I broke down. I was like this because I mean he was one of those filmmakers that really made me fall in love with movie. And I just remember thinking like what? And like I know he had been sick, and I know obviously he was up there in age, but there are certain people that just have that kind of status or that where you kind of think like, well, they're never going to pass.
They're
And
always there. They're always in your life somehow.
yeah, and I think that that's what really made that so tough. So like, I mean, this year it's been him, Brian Wilson, Roy Ayers, Diane Keaton, Ozzy, Ace Frehley. And it's like Jesus. It's like, can we just pause for like 2 seconds? Like, can we just like time out? It's been awful.
Yeah. For me, because I'm huge into music and everything, actually music's more important to me than movies.
Oh, really?
So for Ozzy and an Ace within 3 months, it's devastated me. I'm
Yeah.
like, man, getting older sucks.
Yeah. It's been brutal. I went back because I mean Ozzy's another where I mean, I remember discovering his music, and he's what really got me into metal. And then I mean, even aside from music, I mean like the Osbournes was, I remember my mom
Mhm.
watching that, and then but after he passed, I went back and listened to my favorite albums of his, and I just thought like, my God, like between his work with Black Sabbath and his solo stuff, I mean, I think my favorite probably of his solo stuff is Bark at the Moon.
Yep.
I mean, Jakey Lee and Tommy Aldridge. I mean, it's just
Oh,
beautiful.
yeah. That
Spiders.
song, that song is amazing. Love
Yeah.
that song.
Do you have a favorite of like I'm curious. So do you have a favorite like of Ozzy fronted Black Sabbath albums and then Ozzy just solo stuff?
Well, I first, one of the same cousins that got me into horror. He got me into Black Sabbath. He got me into Kiss when I was really young, and then all of a sudden he found Master of Reality from Black Sabbath, and he put that on. I was just like, I didn't know guitars could sound like that. Oh my God, this is amazing. And then, a couple of years later, or whatever, he's like, oh, Ozzy's got his own band now. He's solo, and put it on, and I don't know started. I was just like,
Oh,
again, because it was the first time I heard playing like that. Like Randy Rose is just absolutely amazing. But
yeah.
Diary of a Madman is definitely my favorite from him. So I think the day after, or whatever, I was just laying in bed and I just kept playing the album over and over again, flipping over, play it again, and I'm just like, this is incredible.
Yeah. He had a great ear for other musicians and how they came together to play for him because it's amazing. And in terms of like of Black Sabbath, I think one of the most underrated, maybe in my opinion, their most underrated song, which is a very underrated album. It's from Technical Ecstasy, "Dirty Women."
Okay, yeah.
His voice in that song is incredible. It's so good. And that's one of those that like when I bring up Never Say Die or Technical Ecstasy, people are like, I don't even know what you're talking. And I'm like, how do you not like it doesn't have to be your favorite, but I mean
Yeah,
that stuff is incredible. And Tony's guitar is great. It was a different style compared to like obviously like
yeah.
some of the earlier stuff, but yeah, when he like really belts it out, it's
Mm.
in his vocal range. What but, like if you listen to like something like Black Sabbath and then you listen to like Sweet Leaf or Solitude and then go to Dirty Women, you're like
Yep.
he had far more range than people give him credit for.
Oh
It's
yeah, I realized that just seeing all the tributes and everything. I'm like, I never realized just how good his voice really is.
yeah.
And then you see other people trying to do it and they can't even come close. It's like, okay, there, his voice was unique.
Yeah. And that's what's I've heard people say like, well, his voice wasn't the best. And it's like, well, what are you talking about? Who like it's kind of like when people talk about Megadeth and they're like, Dave Mustaine. It's like, but can you imagine a different vocalist for
Mhm.
Megadeth? Like no matter what you think of Dave, I mean, I'm a huge Megadeth fan, but it's like his voice fits perfectly for that band. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, no, he's not Roberta Flack, but it's like, would she fit for Megadeth? You know, it's
Yeah.
like it's a completely different kind of
Well, like with Ozzy, like it's like tell people, okay, you try singing the chorus at Crazy Train.
yeah,
Can your
exactly.
voice do that? That's hard.
Very, very. Now for your music, your band, it's Psyoth, right? And I know that's black metal. So your guitar and vocals, right?
I do everything.
Oh, really? Okay.
I got to the point where I'm like, forget trying to keep a band together. I problem I always had back then, well, when I was first starting, it was I just you couldn't find anyone to keep up. And I
Yeah.
wasn't even doing blast beats back then. I was only doing guitar. So there was a drummer that I was friends with and we tried getting stuff going, but it was only just me and him. We could never get a full band going. And literally had some people like some couple of bass guitarists come over and like, how am I supposed to keep up with that? I'm like, oh, this isn't gonna work. I just got to a point years ago, well, probably like 20 years now, where I just said, screw it, I'm buying two used drum sets, putting them together so I got true double bass, and I'm gonna learn.
That's awesome.
And I find all this time, I finally now I'm confident where I'm at the speed and everything that I'm happy with and I'm proud of. But it took that long to at least to get behind and be able to just go with the double bass. Because before it'd be like you'd lose it, you're off, well, but now it's like, wow, I can actually do it now. But yeah, it took me that long. But of course, I don't play every day, so
Yeah. And black metal is the perfect music to listen for this time of the year too, especially like I
yeah.
love going on walks and just having my headphones in and listen to like Emperor or something and just like,
And it's just so atmospheric.
oh yeah,
It's
yeah,
just I don't know. I can't even explain to certain people. There's kind of like a saying with black metal fans is like if you like no, I can't explain it to you why I listen to this, but if you're a fan of it, you know what I'm talking about.
yeah, yeah,
That's the simplest way to say it, and all the fans will go, "Yeah, totally."
yeah. It's the same with like noise and power electronics and stuff.
Yeah,
When people
yeah,
go, this sounds horrific, and it's like, yeah, but that's like I almost kind of see that as like a compliment. Like horrific, like
it's supposed to be.
yeah, exactly. It's like watching a horror movie and be like, it's a little too atmospheric and scary. It's like, well, it's like it'd be like having that kind of comment on it.
Yeah, yeah. Don't
Um,
go watch that comedy. It's too funny.
yeah, exactly. Like it makes zero sense.
Yeah.
Um, I did have another one. Damn it. Uh,
Oh, well, actually, I didn't even actually answer anything, but hopefully soon in the next month or two, I'll finally get the Psyos CD out. That took a big
oh,
hit. I had planned on putting that out in the summer or even in the spring, but once I lost my job, it just kind of the reality of that just got dropped to the side. And now that I'm finally doing the thing with all the movie stuff and like the merch, I'm like, okay, now I got to get the CD out. So hopefully I'll have the CD out before the end of the year.
yeah. Let me know. I'd love to purchase it because I love the I saw the music video. I can't remember what film or what song it was, but like the black robes and that
Mm.
slow zoom, I was like, oh man, that's incredible. What was the name of that song?
Beyond the Baphomet.
Okay,
It was
gotcha.
actually it was from the demo. But if I ever get around to being able to do a second album, it's going to be on the second album.
Oh, that song is okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
I reworked it slightly. It sounds a little bit better now, but and I think I'm going to change the drums because I wasn't happy with what I was doing with the drums. I was doing something weird with the bass drum during the singing, like the verses. It's blast beats playing, but with the bass drum, I just had bop, bop, bop.
okay.
And it took over and it sounded like that. It kind of sounds like that was the snare in some parts. I'm like, "Ah, well, that failed. I gotta change that."
What was funny too is I actually found that song. I don't even know how the hell I found it, but I was listening to it and watching the music video. I'm like, wait, is that Brian Paulin? And I literally I saw it's in Morbid Vision Films. I was like, how did I haven't I mean it may have been just like recommended or something,
That's cool.
but I
It's cool to
literally
get out there somehow.
yeah, I was like, wait a second. And I even saw because um I, I keep bringing them up, but one of the things that Zoller said about your work, and I completely agree, is no film feels like a Brian Paulin film aside from other Brian Paulin films. And so the way you were shooting that
Uh,
and the lighting of it and everything, and I was like, oh yeah, that totally is his work. And essentially what you were saying about Romero about him inspiring you. I that's genuinely how I feel about you and Zoller because uh I feel like there's a tremendous difference between low budget and cheap. Because yeah, it may be low budget, but if you put in that effort, it's not cheap.
yeah.
It is a pure love of the genre of cinema of everything and you know seeing how you do so much of it, and seeing that result and going back to how AI, fucking sucks. That craft. And
Yep.
so I just want to say, like, I genuinely, that's how I feel about your work and Zoller's. Like it is genuinely so incredible to see and really seeing the contemporary landscape. It's
I'll fully admit, I just generally don't like the way movies are made now.
yeah, I'm right there
I
with
mean, you barely even get sets anymore. Everything's green screen.
you.
I hate that. I mean, the movies shouldn't look like a video game.
The death of the mid-budget movie. I feel like that's almost kind of gone away and
Yeah.
yeah, I mean I think that was one of the great things about like the 80s and the 70s is I mean one of the other films I watched recently was The Changeling with George
Yep.
C. Scott. And the atmosphere of that is so great, but like there's a scope to it and like there's genuinely like there's some stuff where I'm like that there's a budget behind this.
Yeah.
And I feel like I wonder, I go, man, like would in today's landscape, would anybody fund that? And
Yeah.
that's depressing to think about. Um,
I've
you
had
know,
people tell me so many times, like, I would love to see what you would do with a $1 million budget. And I tell them straight out, I go, I don't think you'd like it because we would have to, um, the right word just flew out of my head. But we wouldn't be able to do what we wouldn't be able to make a More Vision Films movie because no financiers. It's taken us over 3 years now to make Abysmal Purgatory. No financer or producer is going to allow that,
yeah,
which means we won't be able to do the creature of all practical creature effects we're doing. The sets, we built a lot of sets on this movie. Just some of these shoots, they take all night just to make sure the fog is going in the right direction. I'm not using CGI fog. That's just stupid.
it looks
It's
awful too.
childish. It's like I don't understand the I understand the reasoning because obviously it takes way too long. Sometimes it just takes so damn long, but you used to do it in the 80s. Look at the fog and everything, you know?
Yeah,
Why do we have to have CGI fog? CGI rain is the most pathetic thing.
yeah,
Like, you just hold the hose up.
yeah,
Don't even have a faucet. Just have someone hold the damn hose up.
yeah. It's or even like CGI blood. I hate seeing that like in action films and stuff. I
Yeah,
enjoy the John Wick films, but come on, like there's got to be some practical blood and squibs. Squibs are a lost art, I feel like.
yeah.
It's
I've tried getting into the John Wick movies, but I'm like, once I saw, all the CGI blood and stuff, and I'm like, all it is bang, 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 headshot, headshot, bang, bang, bang.
yeah,
I'm like, it's a video game.
yeah,
I'm like,
I
and
can
people are
see
like,
that for sure.
these are the epic action movies. I'm like, bullshit. This is garbage compared to John Woo stuff.
Oh,
I'm s-
that I will fully agree with.
I'm just not a fan of. I can't get into John Wick movies because it's just a video game.
Yeah.
There's no. I don't feel anything. That's it. I feel nothing when I watch those action scenes.
I will say they are a little too slick. I like when they kind of embody or they embrace the more comedic aspects. Like that's what I liked about two. I think four takes it way too far. Like
That's the only one I haven't seen. I've seen all three, the other three, but
he's getting hit by cars and stuff, and like he's just getting right up. I'm like, I can't.
well, that's the other thing too is CGI stunts.
Yeah.
So the fact Rich taught me how to do stuff. I've done some stuff. I've fallen off of cars and I've gone through set walls and stuff. And then I see these Hollywood actors being making millions and CGI stunts. I'm like, no, fuck you.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, it pisses me off.
Yeah. I thought
Because it's just like it's supposed to be. I don't know. It almost seems like it's not even worth even trying to explain anymore because it's so far gone and it's just we're sitting here busting our ass and putting our lives on the line sometimes to do the practical stuff. And you got all these millionaire Hollywood people just, well, we'll just put in a cartoon. You don't have to do anything.
yeah. Well, and also them wanting to do their own stunts. It's like just let the stuntman do it. Like,
Yeah. Well,
fine.
I'll give credit to Tom Cruise. When I
Oh
saw
yeah.
some of his stuff, I'm like, wow, he really is doing that shit. Wow. Okay. I'm
Yeah.
surprised. I can't believe they actually let him do it. But maybe he's funding some of it. I don't know. But back to the like the makers of John Wick. Like I end up after three. I'm sorry. I know it's probably gonna piss some people off, but I hate the trilogy. I hate that series. But then they make Nobody. Have you seen Nobody?
No, I didn't see that.
It's fucking awesome.
Really?
It is so damn good and brutal. Mostly all practical. It's a complete 180 to the John Wick movies.
Is that with Bob Odenkirk?
Unfortunately, I'm terrible at actors' names, but it's the
Okay.
guy from Better Call Saul.
Okay, yeah, Bob Odenkirk. Yeah,
I didn't know his actual name. Yeah. He's awesome in it. He's so damn good. And
huh.
his character is unbelievably brutal.
I'll have to check it out then.
Yeah,
Because
it's so much better than the John Wick movies. It's
okay,
basically it's like, okay, John Wick is whatever that is. Nobody is the John Woo movies.
hmm. Okay,
Without the massive gunfire and all that.
yeah,
But it's like mostly practical stunts, and it's like there's multiple times in that movie I gasped out loud. I'm like, oh yeah, all right. Yeah.
I'll have to check it out. Yeah, because action films, I think even more than horror, it's so hard to find good ones. Now, like a lot of people talk about the Raid movies. I'm not a fan. I find them very repetitive and
Yeah.
just like no character. Like I don't even mean like characters. It's just like there's no sense of character to it.
No, I agree. There's some movies like that where they'll do insane stunt work and everything. There's some movies from I think it's Thailand. Well, oh, Tony Jaa, remember him?
Yeah, yeah, he's awesome.
His first movies, and then the director or whatever, one of his movies did another movie called Born to Fight.
I've never seen that.
I don't think it's even officially released in America, but I got a hold of a bootleg at a convention years ago, a long time ago. It's like you actually fear for the stuntmen. I mean,
Oh,
you're basically watching stuntmen almost dying for their craft. But the movie is kind of like, but you watch it for, and just the ending is just, it gets ridiculous, but it's so unbelievably insane that you're just like, how are these people doing this shit and not dying? So there's some movies like I put The Raid in that category where you can watch it just to drop your jaw at the action, but the movies themselves aren't the greatest.
yeah. Well, Tony Jaa was amazing too because he said something like he didn't know that wires like some of those movies they were using wires,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
you see how he was jumping and you're like, how? You know, and he's doing these crazy stunts
Yep.
and that I don't really know what he's up to in terms of
I don't know what happened to him.
yeah.
It almost oh actually I think I might have heard something, but I mean obviously don't believe what I'm saying because I am only remembering of somewhat of a memory. But I think also with like it ended up being a Steven Seagal type situation where something happened, he either pissed someone off or he owed someone money and someone took control of something.
Oh,
I think it ended up being one of those type of situations.
that sucks.
Which sucks because that guy was unbelievable.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's the thing too. There's not really like an action star now. Like I think Jason Statham is cool.
Yeah,
Like, but
he's
yeah, like I miss like Yin Bao, Jackie Chan, Sammo Hung, like Jet Li, Donnie Yen, like and again, like
Gotti. It was awesome.
oh yeah, did you ever see the Tiger Cage movies?
Oh no, I haven't seen those.
No,
Oh,
if you like Donnie Yen, check out. He's not in the third one, I believe, but he's in the first two.
okay.
But
I'll check it out.
they're not the same story. They're not continued. They're just isolated, but they're all directed by Yin Wu Ping.
Okay.
I mean, that action is brutal. And again, it goes back to like almost being like it's not horror, but I think it's even going too far to say like horror adjacent, but like the action feels scary. Like
Yeah.
because it's like guns are
They,
scary, fights
they
are scary.
could, these guys could literally be getting hurt and they could end their careers making these movies.
Yeah,
Jackie Chan almost died making one of his movies.
that's right. Yeah, several times I think.
Mm,
Um yeah, and like did you ever see oh my God, Righting Wrongs?
no, I haven't.
It's a Korean film. It was called something else here. I can't remember what it was called, but it's Korean or I mean well he's in it, but he directed it. I think he did the fight choreography, but it's Yin Bao, Cynthia Rothrock. It's incredible.
Oh,
And
okay.
that action is just and it's uh
Oh, I saw something on that because once you said Cynthia or Rothrock, I'm like, I do remember watching something on YouTube about that, I think.
it's great. Yeah, Vinegar Syndrome released it a couple of years ago.
Okay.
And I think his name is Peter Cunningham. He's in it and he is fierce. And yeah, it's that's another where like I feel like with horror, like it just it like even oh what was his name? Do you remember Jeff Wincott back in the day? He was I think Canadian, but like Martial, I think it's called Martial Outlaw or
Yeah.
Martial Law.
Yeah, I'm not good with some actors' names sometimes. Sometimes I just like I know I was like, oh, that person. Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
but it's like I feel like I keep saying action and horror, but it's like it just feels like genre cinema as a whole is just gone.
People technology has ruined movies, I think.
Yeah.
Everyone got so just reliant on CGI that now it's like, yeah, I remember seeing an interview with Steven Spielberg after War of the Worlds, and I didn't realize like all the sets they built. I was watching the making of it, and he's sitting there, he goes, soon I'm not gonna be able to even talk us studio producers into letting me do this anymore.
So
I'm like, that's sad.
yeah,
That's just stupid.
the most well-known director,
Yeah,
he him if he can't get it done, you know,
there's
eh,
something wrong with that.
yeah. And I think even beyond just CGI, like I think with genre cinema, I think a lot of it goes back to that sort of like ironic detachment. Like if it's all like winking to the camera, we're doing this, and it's
Oh
like
yeah, yeah.
you can't really play it straight. It's like people are almost kind of fearful of that for some reason. I don't know why. It's like uh I hate to look at reviews on like IMDb or Letterboxd, and they talk about watching old movies and
Yeah.
they're like, "Oh, I was laughing the whole time." It's like, "Well, what's funny?" Like it really it's so depressing to see and I mean even like somebody like David Lynch and I pulled out a few of his just because I think like Fire Walk with Me is an excellent fall choice and oh wrong one Eraserhead and really just Twin Peaks in general.
Yep.
Um those are excellent films and I didn't want to watch them with an audience because even though he had humor in his films,
Yeah.
when he's being completely honest and earnest, it's like people think he's like being funny or he's being ironic. It's like,
Mhm.
no, this is complete honesty right here. And if you watch like behind the scenes, um, they're like, well, we don't have enough time to do this, or we could cut this down. He's like, well, that's fucking bullshit,
Oh,
and
that
like,
clip. Yeah, I've seen that clip on
yeah,
Instagram, and I was like watching him just go off on that producer. I'm like, that's awesome. Yeah,
yeah,
I'm gonna shut the fuck up. Let you
yeah,
work.
it's great. And it's even like it's one of those things where it's like you take David Lynch, who in my opinion is one of the most visionary filmmakers ever, and he does strange things and he loves the
Mm.
absurd, he loves surrealism, and then you go, well, don't do this. And it's like,
Like,
well,
why would you hire him in the first place? Why would you invest in his movie if you're not gonna let him do what he does?
Yeah, there's this great story with the Elephant Man. Mel Brooks, they showed it to the because he was the executive producer or something behind
Oh
Elephant
yeah,
Man,
yep,
and he was showing studio execs the movie, and they're like, "Oh, you need to cut that beginning and end, like because it's too weird." And Mel Brooks straight up was like, "Oh, I'm not cutting anything. I'm just showing this to you because I'm contractually obligated to show you. We're not cutting anything." I think streaming is a big thing too. It's everything has become so monolithic culturally where you don't have subcultures. You don't have it's weird. It's like everything's become monolithic, but everything is also completely splintered off as well. Where like I feel like there was a time where when certain movies, big movies came out, everyone saw it. Everyone saw Jurassic Park. Everyone saw whatever, it's
yeah,
like Back to the Future. Like everyone saw that. And now I feel like those movies don't exist anymore. But also, again, it just that kind of like that monolith, like it's become so monolithic. You don't have the subcultures. You don't have as many, and I say this completely endearingly, the weirdos who are making the stuff that I love and that other
yeah,
people want to see. It's depressing, and that's why I love like when certain movies. Did you see Skinamarink at all?
yeah.
I really love Skinamarink. I know a lot of people hated it. I thought it was great. But I your reaction, I are you not a
I'm not a fan, but I appreciate what they did. I
yeah.
don't get it, but I it blows my mind that that got a theatrical release.
Same. I
But
saw that
it's
at an
also
AMC.
what's that?
I saw that at an AMC.
That is so bizarre. But I love the fact that it did.
Yeah.
The fact that they actually put that out, I'm like, that's really cool. That's it's kind of brave for a studio to put that something like that in a theater. So I never thought anything like that would ever play.
Yeah. It was made, I think, for like $10,000.
Hmm.
And I think it made like $1 million at the box office.
Well,
So that's
that
and
still sounds like a lot for something like that.
yeah, yeah. I,
Whereas
I think
everyone else like only $1 million. Like it's $1 million.
yeah, that really goes to show like how some people are like, it's only 1 million. Like
Yeah.
that would change my life. Like
Yeah. So like again, when people have said that to me, they're like, "What would you do with $1 million?" I'm like, I have no idea. What do you do with that much money? I
yeah,
don't
I've never
know.
seen that.
I would never know. I wouldn't even know what to do. I wouldn't know where to start.
And that's what's interesting too. And something that I think unfortunately has become sort of a bad thing, but I think could be something really beautiful is that's kind of a film of the internet age. I mean, it really comes from like creepy pastas and everything
Yeah.
like that. And I do really enjoy the film, and it's super atmospheric and another great film to watch during this time of the year. And that
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 might be
shot,
one where if I watch it a couple of times, it's probably going to grow on me.
yeah, it's definitely one of those like it was on some app that had ads, and I'm like, oh, you can't watch it with ads because that's
Yeah,
gonna
that would be that'd be
completely
weird.
yeah. And there's that shot of like the toys on the roof, and it just keeps like the it just gets like elongated where that hallway is like way too long, and then you get outside the house for the first and only time
Mhm.
and it's just like in this weird like purgatory almost and it the vol like the sound and everything and I just thought like as you said incredibly brave for a studio to be like this should be at AMC and Regal I mean when I saw it with one person and there were two other people in the theater
Yeah.
but I was like well I got to know what they thought and they were like that was fucking scary and also really weird because I don't think that they were expecting because they were like two teenage girls. I don't think they were expecting an experimental horror
Yeah.
film that had a mainstream release, or I guess a somewhat mainstream release. But he said he's got a new movie coming out, and he's like, yeah, it's even weirder than Skinamarink. And I'm like, all right, I'm like, I'll hold you to it because that I would love to see it. And
Uh,
so it's nice to
I'll
get
give it a shot.
yeah. I mean, it's nice to see some filmmakers trying to take that leap to go, well, even if it's a super low budget, here you go,
Yeah.
and there are a few mainstream people kind of I'm not the biggest Ari Aster fan, but I think Hereditary, for instance, like did some really interesting stuff.
Mm.
Um,
I liked it better the second time I saw
It's weird you say it. I like that movie less the more I see it. I
it.
don't know why, but there are still some really great sequences. It had this actually leads to a question for you, but that had one of my favorite theatrical experiences. I remember when she's on the wall when he wakes up, and it's kind of shadowy. You don't notice her at first, and you could hear people see her. Like you could hear people go, and it was just like throughout the theater, just.
That's cool.
And I thought, wow, that's so beautiful. And then it cuts to him and she like floats away. And it's kind of goofy looking, but to me that made it look scary. Like
Yeah.
that weird kind of movement. So I was curious if you have like one of those like horror moments, or it doesn't have to be horror, but like one of those theater moments. It's just so memorable that it's really stuck with you.
Um, Not to make it sound cheap or whatever, but I'd say like the two biggest, I won't say jump scares, but the two biggest scares I ever had in the theater was first one, Prince of Darkness, Carpenter's movie.
Oh yeah,
The ending after he wakes up in bed and he rolls over. And also the whole theater just went through the roof on that one.
yeah.
And then the second one is Jacob's Ladder.
Oh yeah.
It's that's very somber scene. He's depressed over his son. Now he's thinking about his son, and he thinks he sees his son run down the hallway. But because now he's thinking again, all of a sudden it's like the demon does that. Holy shit.
Yeah.
That just scared the living shit out of everyone in that theater. Everyone was just like, you could hear people after going, oh my God, what? That was very effective.
I think I've heard you talk about this. Are you a fan of X-Files at all?
Oh yeah, yeah, I watched it.
I'm curious, do you have a favorite episode or like an episode that would fit really well for this time of the year?
Actually, yeah, it's a lot, but a lot of the same reasons I mentioned in some of the other movies and everything was Darkness Falls with the mites inside the trees.
That's when they're in the woods.
The logging, excavation. As they release all these mites and it's eating people and everything. And it's them going to a cabin in the woods, and it's just got such a creepy atmosphere to it. I love that episode. That's my favorite one.
That okay, that's what I thought. Because I saw you talking about it in some I can't remember which video, but I remember I wanted to make sure I wasn't misremembering. I think that one and the one it's this one's also in season one where I think it's called Ice.
Oh yeah, that's a real good one. Yep.
That one's incredible. I think that show does a really great job at not necessarily being pastiche, but kind of calling back to other films and TV shows and stuff, and then but making it completely their own.
Yeah.
I think that episode, it definitely reminds me of The Thing.
Yeah, that one totally felt like the thing, but it was cool. It was good how they did it.
Yeah, and very elemental where like it feels cold and everything like
Mm.
that. And then another from season one, because I haven't gotten too far into the show. I don't know how. But the one with Brad Dourif.
Oh
I
yeah. Yeah,
His
those are good.
performance, he's incredible.
Yeah, those are definitely good ones.
And it's such a comfy show for this time of year too, where it's like
Yeah.
a theme song and just Mulder and Scully that will they won't they kind of dynamic and
Mm.
just and I think like the fact that they do like the monster of the week and then the overarching stories
Yep.
and it's the perfect show for this time of the year.
Yeah.
Do you like Twin Peaks at all?
I never got around to watching it.
Really?
I haven't seen it, no.
That okay, that really surprises me, but it is the perfect show for this time of year because it just feels like autumn that the all the brown, that earth
Yeah.
tone. And, it's got a great community to it, like all the characters, and it makes it comfy, but it's still super scary and very funny, very absurd.
Yeah. It's
And
always one of those ones I always meant to sit down and watch, but I just, especially now, I'm not good at binge watching.
yeah,
Um, so sometimes it's like, oh, do I want to invest in a series or whatever? So sometimes, a lot of times I just don't get around to watching stuff like that, unfortunately.
that's fair. Yeah, well, that was why when I pitched the idea to you, I didn't want to do like just TV and TV series or like specials and stuff because I have seen like maybe 10 shows all the way through. Like I'm terrible at TV. But
Oh
with
yeah,
movies, I'm like, oh, I can what subgenre, what genre?
yeah,
I can give you 50
exactly.
films right now. But yeah, and then if you don't mind, I have one other one I was gonna ask you about.
Mhm.
Um Audition. Are you a fan of this film at all?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Um
A little surprised the first time I watched it. I'm like, this is really slow. But then all of a sudden, it's like, all right, this is getting really creepy.
well that leads me to the question, did you know about that kind of turn that it was gonna take?
Kind of, but I didn't realize just. I was surprised at just how slow the beginning was.
Yeah.
But I was like, no, I know this was supposed to be worth it. Keep going with it and everything. But yeah, yeah, Takashi Miike's stuff is just awesome.
He's brilliant. He's another where even when he's not doing straight up horror, it feels kind of horror
Mhm.
adjacent. Or
Yeah,
even when he is doing like Visitor Q, I think
yeah.
is straight
That's
up.
one of the first ones I saw actually.
That film's incredible. And like Gozu and the Dead or Alive trilogy, he's brilliant. But I saw Audition, I was told about it, and I was all I was told was it's a horror film. And I was like, okay, well, J horror, hell yeah, I'll watch it.
Yep.
And so I put it on and I was like, wow, this is a really strange movie. And I didn't think it was slow. I just thought, like, how does this become horrific?
Felt like
Because,
a drama. You're watching a drama.
yeah, but like, it's really weird because it's like a really weird, like, disquieting kind of nature to it. Like, I'm
Mhm.
just like, okay, I wonder where this is going to go. And then slowly starts to unfold. I was like, oh my God, like, this is scary as hell. And then that sequence, I was like, holy, and that telephone in the bag, I was just like,
Yeah.
this is brilliant. And then further discovering his stuff like Visitor Q, and I think he's one of those guys that, again, he can take things that like should not be scary, like they should almost be kind of goofy,
Yeah.
and then you're just like, that is one of the most disturbing things I have ever seen in my life. And I mean, J horror is great, and I mean, these are not me cable, like House,
Mm.
another great one. I think it's kind of become like Nobuhiko Obayashi, the guy who directed it. He's done other great stuff. His Motorbike Island's actually probably my favorite film. But I feel like this one's kind of been disrespected where people are like, it's goofy, it's whatever. It's like, no, it's a legit great film,
Yeah.
and it's really sad because there are certain aspects that deal with the aftermath of the atomic bombs, and
Oh yeah. Yep.
there's certain subtext, and then Battle Royale
Love that movie.
kicks ass, and I mean, Takeshi Kitano is the man. It's one of those that again, it's perfect fall watching because it's just there's just that I don't know what it is, but it again, it like there are horror elements, there's the action, there's the melodrama. Like I
Mm.
think Japanese melodrama is just like often so beautiful and
Yeah.
so sincere, and so I think that's great. And then there's a movie called Love Hotel.
I
It's
haven't seen that one.
one of those like Roman porno movies, the Japanese. But so I have a friend that told me about it, and I was like, all right, I'll check it out. And I was like, oh, this is legit. Like, it's not like a hardcore porn or anything like that. Like, it's so beautiful and so melancholic, and it's another one where it's like it's so cold and like, and I won't give anything. It's definitely the best to go in blind, but
Mhm.
it's like the most I guess not unorthodox, but it's a very strange love movie that I think for most people are going to be like, that's really kind of disturbing and like sick, but it's really great. And then this final one here, have you seen Cure at all?
Which one is it?
It's called Cure.
Oh, Cure.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, long time. I've only seen it once, but when I first started getting, well, the whole '90s, once the late '90s craze, exploded. But I don't remember much from that one. I'm pretty sure I own it, but I only watched it once. But I was watching so many Japanese horror at the time that some of them just kind of like slipped out of my mind a little bit, and unfortunately, that one did.
I would return to it because it's another. It's like it it just looks and feels brisk, like in terms of the temperature and the weather and stuff of it. But
Yep.
it's another where I think J horror does a great job about this, where they're oddly quiet
Mm.
and you're kind of like, okay, where's this going? And then, but that sound design is fully realized, and then it really takes these turns that, and it's funny because this movie was, I think, kind of hard to find. It There's a website called Rare Film, and I was watching it on that, and I was always telling friends like, you gotta watch this, and none of them wanted to listen to me. And then Criterion releases it, and then of course everyone's like, have you seen Cure? I'm like,
Yeah.
I hate you all so much. I've been recommending this for like 10 years, and then you want to pretend like I never recommended it. But yeah, I really appreciate you doing this with me, man. I had a great discussion and had a lot of fun, and I'm glad I got to see that set too. That's pretty cool.
No, thanks
Um,
for asking. This was fun. I like doing these.
yeah, man. So I was curious, is there anything else like project wise you got coming up?
Well, so we're heading towards the finale of Abysmal Purgatory, so hopefully we'll wrap that up filming by maybe January.
Okay,
And but then also I've got I got asked to do a small sequence for a German horror film. I can't remember exactly if it's an anthology or if it's like a VHS type thing where, it's just segments. But so that's gonna be fun.
nice.
And but then yeah, everything's mostly just trying to get Abysmal Purgatory finally finished.
And then you said you're trying to get Psyoth that album released as well.
Yeah, hopefully I'll get that out before the end of the year.
Okay.
Like, it's just, yeah, my financial situation just kind of derailed everything.
Yeah.
So I've gotten the movie stuff kind of back on track, and now I got to get the music back on track now.
Well, like I said, let me know when that comes out. I'll definitely buy it. And also too, if you do change your mind about the Morbid Visions, the shirt or the sweatshirts, let me know. I
Okay.
will definitely help out with that. But I feel like there was one more thing I wanted to bring up or ask about. Oh, yes. You said about the German film. I thought aren't your films banned in Germany, or is that just Fetus?
Just Fetus.
Oh, okay.
I remember hearing that Blood Pigs got confiscated years ago, like maybe a couple of years after we released it. But they watched it, they had a hearing for it, and it passed. Probably because it's a monster movie. It's a
Yeah.
zombie movie or whatever. I think it was just because some of the subject matter in Fetus. I mean, I'll admit, just even the cover and the girl in the bathtub, that scene probably goes too far. And the scene where I end up cutting the baby's head off that I take out of her or whatever. Yeah, I understand it. I get it.
Well, and also too, what you said about in the bathroom. We always laugh every time that bathroom shows up in one of your films because I just think like, my God, the amount of scenes that have taken place in this bathroom, I'm like, this bathroom has seen some stuff, man. Like of all the effects and like is it Rich George who threw up the worms in Bone Sickness and and
Yep.
like all the stuff in Fetus? I'm like, yeah, man, this bathroom has seen some stuff. Like you're brutal.
See, the first cut of Bone Sickness, that was in our first house when we lived in Pawtucket, Rhode Island. But then when we did the unearthed version where we added more to it, we didn't live there anymore. So my bathroom here looks totally different than the one in Rhode Island because that one, no, our new one was all tiled before we did it. So we're taking white poster board and we're cutting it to shape and we're cutting it around my faucets and everything to try to make it look like the Rhode Island house.
Awesome.
But yeah, the house here, they're the ones where all the worms end up dropping out of his ass over the thing.
But yeah, thanks again for doing this, man. Like I said, I'm a huge fan and I enjoy doing this kind of stuff. So yeah, I really appreciate it. And hopefully we can see Abysmal Purgatory soon and it stays spring 2026. It's not anything later.
That's the earliest because just editing can sometimes just take so long and the
Yeah.
sound the sound editing, that's the fun part. That's more fun, I think, than editing the visuals. But sometimes it just I counted on I think it was Blood Pigs or even Septic. I just looked at like a 1 minute sequence on the timeline and there was like 360 sound effects in it.
Oh my God.
I was like, wow, okay.
And I'm sorry, that just brought up one more question. I'm sorry, since you said that. Are you doing the music for this one too?
I'm not fully sure what's happening with the music even right now because I had some people offer music. I had one guy offer his project, which was a lot of noise stuff.
Yeah.
I said it would have been perfect for Septic, but some of the stuff I'm like, all right, maybe I can use this. I went over it again recently. I'm like, this doesn't fit. I'm like, shit.
Oh,
I felt bad. I'm like, all right, so I'm not sure what I'm gonna do. I actually heard I've been really getting into ambient. soundscapes, like the horror related ones. Like if you go, there's a channel called Sinister, and there's one, it's Evil Dead porch, and
Oh,
it's for an hour, it's the boom boom against the cabin. You hear all the wind and stuff, and that's all it is. And sometimes I go to sleep to that. But I found another one where it's just all different weird stuff, and almost a little more musical with the sounds. I was like, that would be perfect for Abysmal Purgatory. And they're based in England, and I'm thinking about contacting them and saying, hey, can I purchase some of your music or whatever? This would just be perfect for my movie. So I'm kind of going more in the ambient musical drone territory.
okay.
Because even like I love the music that my friend Matt Meserve did for the beginning and the finale of Fetus, the really musical strings and all that. That wouldn't fit in most of the stuff I'm picturing for Abysmal Purgatory.
Okay, yeah, because that's almost more Giallo-like in a way.
Yeah, it's this one's more it's once I look at it more, then I'll just like it'll eventually hit me. I'm like, oh, this is what I need to do. But right now it seems like that's the direction it's going. So more just typical music or definitely noise music's not going to work at all because it's a totally different atmosphere. So it would be too jarring. I wanted that for Septic. I wanted to make people feel uneasy with the noise music and that, but it's not the right tone for this. So I'll figure it out at some point.
Well, cool, man. And yeah, like I said, let me know if I can do anything. I'll help out as much as I can.
All right, cool.
But yeah,
Well, thank
man.
you very much. I appreciate the help you have done.
Yeah, no worries. I'm glad I could. So I'm glad I can. So but yeah, thanks again for doing this, and thanks to anyone watching. And yeah, I'll see you later, Brian.
Have a good one.
You too.